Playoff football is in the air. FCS Round 1 action has reached Rhode Island, where the Central Connecticut State Blue Devils take on the 9th seed Rhode Island Rams. First round action here at Rhode. You take a look at the bracket. These two teams playing for the right to take on 8th seed UC Davis. Meanwhile, powerhouse North Dakota State looms on the other side of the bracket. Good afternoon and welcome to the University of Rhode Island and Meade Stadium, along with Jay Sunhalter, Joe Torti. So glad to have you aboard for this one. And Jay, such a cool matchup, a rematch of last year's first round matchup.
Yeah, last year was a great ball game. Rhode Island winning that game 21-17. It goes down to the wire, and both teams have had really good seasons getting back to this point. It all starts here today, and I expect this to be another close ball game in the fourth quarter.
Well, Jay, visiting with both of the coaching staffs this week, they both highlighted Elijah Howard of CCSU as a potential X factor in this game.
He's been dominant this season running the football. He's so consistent. He has elite speed, and he can take it the distance. But his ability to run in between the tackles and move the chains is what really separates him, and he's the #1 key for this Rhode Island defense. You've got to find a way to slow him down.
Well, it's going to take a village to do that, but the leader of the village is linebacker A.J. Pena, who's just been elite this year for the Rams.
He stands out on film. He's a leader of this defense and of the whole team, and they go with everything he says. He'll line you up in the right position. He gets everybody set, and he comes off the edge. He's great in run support, and he's the guy that's got to have a big game, especially slowing down Howard in that running attack.
Take a look there at Rhode head coach Jim Fleming, who has just been unbelievable in the time taking over the Rams in his 12th season. Back-to-back CAA Coach of the Year, and of course, this year, an outright Coastal Athletic Association title. Squaring off with him across on the opposite sideline, Adam Lechtenberg, who has collected back-to-back Coach of the Year honors as well in the NEC. And you talk about a quick turnaround, taking over a program that really did need a change of direction. Since then, back-to-back titles, picked last in the league last year to win the title, this year front runners, and still managed to pay it off.
He's brought in that winning mindset, and it was so good visiting with both coaches this week and kind of diving into the program and their philosophies, and it's easy to see why they've had great seasons. They're both in the playoffs. They won their conference on each side. It starts at the top, and it kind of trickles down throughout the staff into these players, and two of the best here over on the sidelines for each side.
There's Jaden Turner patrolling his 1-yard line, all set to return for CCSU. Pretty good conditions in terms of the temperature out there, but that wind is starting to become a factor. It'll be blowing from left to right across your screen, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. Garth White booms this one away through the end zone, and we'll get our first look at this Central Connecticut State offense. And it's a unit, Jay, that's completely loaded with all NEC performers.
They're star players, and the quarterback is one of the best for this offense. Brady Olson does a good job reading the defense, protects the football. He's been accurate 59% on the season, but he'll hit you with that deep passing play down the field, over 2,800 yards on the season. He's got a strong arm, and he's just one of those guys that you can trust him with any play call you give him.
Olson 135 yards away from the single season passing record here, throwing to a cast of talented wide receivers, tight ends, and of course Elijah Howard is always a threat out of the backfield. On first down, it's a handoff to Howard, and Howard surges ahead for a short pickup there. Not a whole lot before Jaywin Neal is able to make the tackle.
Yeah, it's going to be so important for the Blue Devils to establish that ground game so they can use Olson with the play action pass, and there's Howard. They'll line him up out of wide receiver as well. He's very versatile.
Second down and 9. Olson to the air this time and has a target. That'll be Michael Travarelli, who's the leading touchdown maker on this team, a walk-on who earned a scholarship spot.
A nice accurate throw. And it's going to be important for this offense to really attack the intermediate area with the different blitzing schemes the Rams will bring. You've got to replace that defender. Good job there by Olson finding the open man.
Brings up a third down now and 1. Take a look at what CCSU has done this year. So much balance, but really jumping off the screen at you. 145 yards per game on the ground. Great production. Olsen rolling to the right, fires into the flat, and it's incomplete. Had David Pardo right in the hands for first down yardage, but it hits the turf.
This offense has been so good on picking up third downs throughout the season, moving the chains, and that's one there as Olsen rolls out to the right, the fake to Howard. This was wide open and just tried to turn upfield before he brought it in, and the punting unit here is going to try to flip the field going against this stiff wind.
And to your point, on the season, Jay, converting almost 41% on third down. Not coming up with it that time. Zach Benini, the lefty, set to boot this one away. A bit of a wobbler, and you saw it hit a wall with that wind. Takes a big-time roadie hop out to the 38-yard line, and that's where we'll take a look at this Rams offense that has been absolutely prolific, especially in the second half of the season.
Yeah, they've really turned it on. The past 6 ball games, they've taken their offense to a new level, and they've got a group of veterans, Joe, that they've really relied on, star players on the outside, and Devin Farrell, their quarterback, has been really good.
17-4 as a starter is Farrell, 18-4 overall. And you take a look at what he's done, 6 in the FBS in passing. He could have climbed even farther, but he left last week in the second quarter with a toe injury. Coach says that he's fine, ready to go. Hands off to Antoine Littleton Jr., and he is a big load at running back. 8-yard pickup there on first down.
Yeah, Littleton's very similar to Howard. They've got 2 really good running backs in this ball game, and they want to establish the ground game with him. And he's a tough runner. Good job holding on to that ball as teams try to dislodge. He's 6'1", 225. He's a guy that you can give the ball to over 20 times here today.
On second down and 2, Farrell under center. Pitch, Littleton lowers his shoulder and gets about half of it. Active in the middle of that defense is Jack Stahl, the tackling machine for Central Connecticut.
Now, these teams play very similar styles, and Stahl, along with Pena, 2 really good linebackers, 2 of the best in FCS.
3 and out on the first drive for Central Connecticut State. Rhode Island looking to capitalize. Take a look at what they've put together. Absolute scoring dynamo, and they've been great on third down as well. Littleton gets the carry. Second effort, surge. He's right at the sticks, Jay. It's going to be close.
He just kept his legs moving and just trying to move that pile forward. Looks like, say, they're going to give him the first down. The chains are going to move, but look at Littleton here. When the contact is made, him just stay low, continuing to churn, fall forward. He's such a good back as far as recognizing where the crease is and attacking that lane.
Littleton Jr. also spent time at Maryland and Temple. Sets up Rhode with a first down. Farrell back to the air, into the slot, juggling catch made by Abura Kwarteng. And Kwarteng, the slot receiver, third option on this team. Coaching staff told us he could be the #1 option on a lot of teams.
He's a talented wide receiver. This is a difficult catch with the wind and turning his body. And Kwarteng is a trusted guy for Farrell in the slot, the way he can get in and out of his breaks.
After the pickup of 9, it's second down and 1. Kwarteng in motion. Handoff to the other tailback, B.J. Barrow, and the Stanford transfer moves the chains of the first down. He's been a bruising runner as well. Fought through injuries in the early part of the season. He's really coming on late.
Yeah, he's starting to get healthier, and he's a good 1-2 punch with Barrow and Littleton Jr. Those guys share some of those carries, some of the burden of being a running back for this offense, as Barrow been very productive with over 7 yards per carry.
Play action, Farrell looking deep up the sideline through the hands of his intended target, Greg Gaines III. He's been a big play wide receiver for URI, and it looked like they had one there.
This has to be the concern for the Blue Devils, is that big passing play off of the play action. And Farrell there, fake to Barrow, and then the pass over the top to Gaines. And with Gaines and Buchanan, both those wide receivers have top end speed, and they have the ability, if it's a one-on-one matchup, to win that. And this Coach Fleming watching his offense, and this has been a prolific group this season.
2nd and 10, Farrell back to the air, back to Gaines, and this time the connection is there inside the 35-yard line. And Gaines, the Iowa State transfer, 7th in the conference in yards per game, has been so reliable.
He has, and he's got the talent. And you look at that, over 15 yards per catch. He's a big play waiting to happen, and that combination with Buchanan. Who do you shade the safety over to? Who do you double team? That's the question for the defense, is trying to slow down those wide receivers along with the running game.
Brings up a 3rd down and 5. Farrell back to the air, but Buchanan makes his first catch, and he spins ahead. Buchanan known for doing work down the field, that time picking up the tough yards.
And he is athletic and quick, and there in the slot, he's 6'4", but he's got the quickness to beat you on the inside. And Farrell knows exactly where he's going with this ball. Initially looked at the middle field safety, then quickly turns on the slant to Buchanan.
Fresh set of downs now for Rhode Island, driving on their first possession of this drive, or of this game rather. Scoreless here. URI, the 9th seed, hosting this opening round matchup. Littleton gets the carry again, and look at that CCSU defense swarm to the ball. That's the level of detail that it's going to take to slow down this URI offense.
Now, this is a physical and fast defense, and they've had so much success throughout the season because they play as one, and they play off of Jack Stoll, their #1, their linebacker. But this is a group that has to have success on 1st down to force this offense into passing situations on 2nd and 3rd down.
That's where we are at this point, 2nd down and long. Devin Farrell in the shotgun. Good protection here for Farrell. He can move. Looking up the sideline, has a man wide open, and it's a touchdown for Connor Feiner. URI strikes first.
This touchdown was created from Devin Farrell. His ability to read the coverage and then extend the play. He looks to the left, to the right, back to the left, and then says, hey, I've got to get out of the pocket. And then Feiner just sprinting down the sideline. What a good job staying patient, letting the play develop, and then Feiner, easy touchdown to close out the drive.
Garth White's extra point caps off a 28-yard touchdown strike. Feiner on the reception from Farrell. Rhode Island strikes first. CCSU looking to answer this beauty. Wide open, Feiner finds Pater.
Connor Feiner with the touchdown, and he did not give up on this play, Joe. What a job from the tight end, staying with his quarterback, Devin Farrell, as this play develops. There's Feiner just doing an out route, kind of sitting there in the flat, and then says, all right, my quarterback needs help. He turns it up on the sideline and then beats the defense, and a great job just staying aware of where the quarterback is, watch him keep the play alive, and then go the distance here. And Farrell with a beautiful pass over the top to close out the drive, and the Rams doing a nice job there, mixing in the run and the pass.
10 plays, 62 yards in just under 5 minutes to cap off that scoring drive for Rhode. Kickoff reaches the end zone, another touchback here. And Central Connecticut State now trying to answer, went 3 and out on their first drive. And now they'll have the chance to send their offense back out there. Devin Farrell and company did their jobs for Rhode. 10 plays, 62 yards, just under those 5 minutes on that drive. And they got it done in a variety of ways, on the ground, through the air, long plays, short plays. Got anything that they wanted, so this is going to be big for Central Connecticut State to have an answer here with Olsen. 1st down and 10 for the Blue Devils. And off again goes to Howard, trying to keep it alive, and good defense, swarming all over the tailback, led up front by Tosin Akinsalari, who has been so good all season.
He's a load in that middle of the defense. They play 2 down linemen with 4 backers on the outside. You've got to have an interior presence. Did a good job filling the lane.
Gain of 1, 2nd and 9. Olsen has time, delivers up the sideline high and incomplete, looking for Travarelli.
For this offense, you want to keep yourself out of 3rd and long situations. And with Olsen here, he has a good feel in the pocket, but right now he's got to expect some sort of blitz, some sort of defensive line movement to try to get pressure on him, and he'll have to have that internal clock in his head to get rid of the ball.
3rd down and 9 now for Central Connecticut State. A.J. Pena lined up on the end of the line there. Olsen, pocket collapsing and ran out of time, incomplete. Good coverage down the field as well for URI.
The secondary doing their job and working with that front line, the defensive line getting pressure, and A.J. Pena, you've got to see where he's lined up and know you got to get a body on number 8. They're a pretty good job, but the pocket collapses as Pena continues to work to Olsen. You see him as he's reading it, he's feeling that pressure, knows he's got to get rid of it, and that's a tough spot when you feel that defensive end barreling down on you.
Zach Bonini got a good punt away the first time. The freshman sends that one end over end. This time it takes a big CCSU hop before turning on the left turn signal. And Rhode will take over at their 42-yard line. Rams already in front, 7-0, hosting FCS Championship Round 1 action. They look to double their lead next. Take a look at this time last year, November 30th. First round action again right here in Kingston. Emmanuel Gomes picking off a Brady Olsen pass, taking it back 42 yards for a pick 6. Rams are up 14-0 in the first quarter. Olsen went back to Isaac Boston, 6-yard touchdown. And then Tommy Smith ran it in from 6 yards out. Rams up 21-14, would hold on to win 21-17, almost exactly a year ago, 364 days ago. Jason Halter, Joe Torti here with you. And Jay, if you're Rhode Island, you have to take a look at this series history and think, it already feels like history is repeating itself from last year. Good start for Rhode.
Yeah, Jim Fleming in that ball game last year saw his team jump ahead, and then they held on for that win. And he's got to like that first drive with his offense, moving the ball down the field, and his defense, 2 drives, they've done a nice job with 2 3-and-outs.
Farrell over the middle. Kwarteng again has some space. Made 1 miss, made 2 miss, and tiptoes out of bounds at the 27-yard line of CCSU. Another big play in space for Abora Kwarteng.
Kwarteng, 6'2", and he is a big, physical, imposing wide receiver, especially over the middle. And Farrell, he's in a groove right now. Clean pocket, gets hit as he throws it, but he is in control of this offense, reading the defense and finding the open man.
5 of 6 for 80 yards in the score so far for Farrell, as Littleton gets the carry and picks up about 2 yards there on first down. 2nd and 8 incoming.
The defense for the Blue Devils has to make a stand here. You've got to think turnover or try to force a field goal attempt. You cannot get down 2 scores from this offense, and Littleton Jr. has been outstanding through the year. So much production for him, over 200 rushes on the season.
Marquise Buchanan, a 1,000-yard receiver as well. Only the 2nd time in Rhode history they've had a 1,000-yard rusher and receiver. Farrell on 2nd down and 8 sends Feiner, the touchdown receiver, in motion. Over the middle, looking for Buchanan, makes 1 miss. Buchanan into the end zone for the score. Touchdown, Rhode Island, 25 yards.
Marquise Buchanan, he's the ultimate competitor. There's a little out and then comes back to the middle and then beats the defender to the inside and then says, I want more, with yards after the catch. Here's the out and up, catches this ball, then quickly turns, almost like a drop step on the basketball court, and just sprints into the end zone. And this offense is rolling, and Farrell's in a groove.
White's extra point is up and through. And just like that, it's a 2-touchdown lead for Rhode Island over Central Connecticut State. Rams are rolling at home. couple of touchdown passes for that guy. Devin Farrell feeling it. Buchanan making it happen after the catch. Well, this scoring drive a little bit shorter in terms of plays run for URI. 3 plays, 58 yards, capped off by a 25-yard delivery from Farrell to Marquise Buchanan. It has this Rhode crowd feeling good in the first quarter with Jay Sunhalter, Joe Torty here with you. And if you're CCSU, this has to feel like just a bad movie.
Yeah, there's got to be a response here. They have to find a way to come back, get a drive going, and have some sort of success. Rhode Island's really shot out here with their offense being explosive, and they've got that instant chemistry that you want coming out in a ball game. The offense is clicking.
Garth White all set to boot this one away to Jaden Turner. White spent 3 years at USC, no action there, and has set a new program record for kicker points in a season for Rhode Island. He's got 2 so far today. And wind aided, booms that one all the way through the end zone. Take a look at what Devin Farrell's been working with so far.
He's been outstanding, and he has been comfortable throwing the ball deep down the field to his wide receivers. And the offensive line, look at the pocket, the time he has to dissect the coverage, and Finer with the touchdown there, the first one, and then over the middle, over the top, he's been able to really connect with his guys. And here's Buchanan out and up, finishing off with a touchdown for his quarterback.
CCSU's offense taking the field now. What's this drive need to look like, Jay?
Well, I think here you got to pick up third downs, you got to move the ball, and you have to establish Howard in this running game.
On first down, play action look to the sideline. Juggling catch could not be made on the outside, although Paul Marsh Jr. gave it a pretty good shot. Second down and 10.
For Olsen and that short intermediate passing game, it just hasn't been there thus far. This has been 2 quick drives. Not only do they need to score points, they've also got to give their defense a rest and an opportunity to really kind of sit over on that sideline, make adjustments, and they need this drive to end with points.
Being outgained 120-10 so far. Olsen pitches outside. Howard has some room. Stretches out towards the 30-yard line, down at the 29. And a pretty good tackle that time by Jordan Campbell from his corner spot.
Campbell coming up, physical from the defensive back position. There he is, just splitting the double team. And good job being physical as Howard, if he could have broke through there, he easily would have picked up a first down.
LaShawn Hibbert making that play as well. 3rd down and 6. Upcoming here for CCSU, get the feeling, although it's early, Jay, monster 3rd down here. Olsen, here comes the blitz over the middle, and a good on-target delivery. Tough catch made over the middle as well, and going right back to Marsh, who made nearly the catch on the outside, makes it on the inside.
Well, Marsh be the defender to the inside and really boxed him out, and they had to have this one. Olsen feels the pressure right up the middle, and there's Marsh securing that ball.
Howard on the carry, nowhere to go, right into the waiting arms of A.J. Pena, who turns him back off the edge.
Pena is an imposing force on that edge. 6'2", 243 pounds, and he plays with power against the tackles, and he can beat you with his quickness on the edge. And Joe, he's one of those guys that'll get after the quarterback, but also he doesn't take plays off when it's in the running game. He'll be very physical, slowing down Howard today.
To your point, Rhode's career leader in both sacks and tackles for loss. Olsen looking up the sideline, has a man complete. Donovan Wadley, very explosive player touch-wise. Haven't been able to get him loose yet, and maybe that'll get him going.
He's a guy that was second team all conference. They've got to find different ways to get him the ball, and this is a tough play to the opposite hash. Nice touch from Olsen, needling that ball over the defender.
Brings up a 3rd down and 2 now for Central Connecticut State from the 46-yard line. Olsen calls a man in motion. Donovan Marcus gets good protection this time. Olsen over the middle, on time and on target. Joe Cravasi veteran leader who's really battled some injuries this year, has come back to be healthy at the end of this year.
Well, he is talented. And this was a crossing route from Krufasi. There's Olsen just staying patient, waiting for him to get past that second wave of the defense, and that is a huge pickup for the Blue Devils, continuing to move the chains on this drive.
Best drive so far of this first quarter for CCSU. Olsen, play action again, hit as he throws, looking deep, and it is incomplete over the head of his intended target, Pardo, and they might have been looking right into the sun coming back for that ball.
Well, that sun is brutal. We were down on the field in the pregame. You looked up, and I was wearing sunglasses, and I still turned away. So this is a difficult for Dave Pardo here. As there's Olsen. He just gets drilled from Patrick Conserve, the defensive end, as he throws this ball right up the middle, takes the contact, and Pardo has a chance here, just couldn't turn his body to come back to the ball.
Brings up a 2nd down and 10 for CCSU. Handoff, Marcus, and Marcus is turned back. Hit very hard in the middle of that defense by Rohan Davey, the sophomore, one of 3 sophomores in this linebacking core that have made a big difference this year.
Davey very quick off the edge, coming up and run support. This offense only has 5 rushing yards through this first quarter, and it's because of that ability to bring multiple players over to fill the gap and make the tackle.
It's a player down for URI, and that is not, you never want to see anyone down, but that is not the one, as it's A.J. Pena down on his back. And this would be a huge blow if for whatever reason he's not able to return to this game, because we talked about it in terms of tackles for loss, sacks, leadership. He's the guy who's kind of the heart and soul of this URI defense. Good to see him getting to his feet.
Well, you know, when we talk with the coaches, it says a lot about a player with hearing their reaction. All the coaches just raved about him, his production, of course, but also what he does from a leadership perspective and really the heartbeat of the team. And everybody respects him so much, and that's a good sign with him walking off the field.
Take another look at what might have happened here at the end of this play. See a collision there. Looked like with one of his own players, unfortunately. And those meet me at the ball carrier situations do happen. 3rd down and 10. Olsen back over the middle. Little tunnel screen works out. And look out here, open space for CCSU. And that is a good play. Biggest offensive play of the game so far for Damani Williams, the freshman wide receiver, getting loose.
Well, this is a really good play call. When you're feeling the pass rush, how do you slow it down? You call the screen. There's motion going out to the left, and Olsen comes back to the right, quick pass, and it lets your skill position players do the work. And Damani Williams, one of those talented freshmen with a big play.
Olsen back to the air, looking on the corner, and it was incomplete. Jordan Campbell was there in coverage. That play didn't work out the way that CCSU wanted, but what else has worked on this drive for the Blue Devils?
Well, I just think the composure of Olsen and that veteran quarterback kind of knowing where to go with the ball pre-snap, feeling the pressure, staying calm in the pocket is important. And 5 for 11 for 54 yards right now, but on this drive, he's looked much better, and his wide receivers are helping him out.
After the incompletion, 2nd down and 10, just outside the red zone. Double play action, back to Williams, and this time URI saw it. Patrick Conserve, the defensive lineman, retracing his steps and dragging him down.
It's so important when you're a backside defender not to go with the fakes. You've got to stay at home, and Conserve, number 51, just kind of hanging from that defensive end position, staying there for the throwback to Damani Williams. He was not fooled, and that's a big stop to set up a 3rd and long.
This is not the direction of the stadium that you want to be kicking into, so this is a super important 3rd down and 14.
Depending on what happens here, potentially you go for it on 4th down.
Olsen looking, goes to the outside. Travarelli makes the catch, and he'll be 4 or 5 yards short down at the 22-yard line. Much more manageable here, and we'll see what the decision is for Adam Lechtenberg. They're only 6 for 15 on 4th down this year. That's the fewest attempts in the conference.
I think with the wind and being down 14-0, you want to have that aggressive mindset here in the first quarter and having faith that your offense can pick it up.
Offense staying out on the field. 4th down and 6. Now timeout is called by URI. So they want to talk it over. Jim Fleming and Chris Laurenti taking a look at how CCSU lines up. What's happening in that URI hub?
Well, I think right now they use the timeout because they recognize, hey, if we can get off the field, we're going to set ourselves up with really good position, but making sure with Pena out of the ball game that everybody's sure as far as where they want to be with the blitzing scheme they want to bring and how they're going to attack here on this 4th down.
CCSU has had an adventurous season, 8-4 overall, so maybe a little bit more resistance than URI experienced, but can't argue with the results, right? 2nd straight conference championship and 15 total players on all NEC teams.
Yeah, a couple of those losses in the early part of the season, they really turned it on here on the latter half, and see the 10 players making the NEC first team. A lot of standouts this season for Adam Lechtenberg.
So after some time to think about it, CCSU still out there at an empty look with Olson. Elijah Howard is slotted to his right. Here comes the heat over the middle, complete. Travarelli has the 1st down and more inside the 10-yard line. Tough catch over the middle.
Travarelli had to win here. One-on-one coverage, the Rams bringing the blitz. Pena back in the ball game at the top of the screen. And there's Olson, has had success on this drive with the crossing routes over the middle.
Inside 1 minute to play in this first quarter. FCS Championship 1st round action from Kingston, Rhode Island. Olson floating, end zone, one-handed catch could not be made, incomplete. Joe Pravasi nearly able to make that catch.
Chris Laurenti, the defensive coordinator for the Rams, is heating things up, brings pressure, and that allows the one-on-one coverage on the outside, and Pravasi, it looked like he may be able to hold that. The ball just slipped out of his hands as he's falling to the ground.
Very tight coverage on that play. Trey Lubin was in the area. Second down and goal. Olson back to the air. Juggling catches made short of the end zone. And the player's helmet came off as well at the end of that play. That was Paul Marsh Jr., who's been banged up, very effective when healthy, according to the coaching staff. And he's getting healthy, making a couple of tough catches in this one.
Yeah, he's looked good here to begin this ball game. As Olson reads the defense, there's Marsh winning to the inside as the defenders draped all over him. Was able to hold on to that ball.
Trey Lubin doing all he could to jar that loose. 3rd down and goal. 10 seconds to play in the first. Olson firing it out wide, complete to Howard, who's in for the score. Touchdown, Central Connecticut.
Blue Devils had to have a response on this drive, and they did it through the air. Rhode Island clogging things up in the middle, trying to slow down the run and specifically stop Howard in that running attack. And they use him splitting out as a wide receiver for the touchdown. They picked up a critical 3rd down, also had a 4th down conversion, and it results in points.
16 plays, 75 yards, 6:44 off the clock. Jack Hennessy's point after try is up, and it is good. A big response for Central Connecticut State, answering in a big way. Are you going to be able to move the ball against this Rhode Island defense? 16 plays says yes.
And they found a way Well, this is 3rd and long, 4th and long. They had to have somebody step up, and I was just impressed with Olsen, his composure in the pocket, the wide receivers winning one-on-one matchups. And on that drive, you could really tell the defense for the Rams, their sole focus was slowing down Howard in that running game. There were opportunities on the outside, and I think for Central Connecticut State, that's some confidence they can gain moving the ball down the field.
Adam Lechtenberg and his staff actually helped to recruit URI quarterback Devin Farrell to Virginia Tech, also Elijah Howard to the Hokies as a defensive back. Both of those players get a change of scene. Here they are in playoff action. Will Bozak going to boot this one away for Central Connecticut State. Not incredibly deep. Barrow has to come up for this one. Barrow spun backwards and tossed down. Great special teams coverage on that play by Jaden Sasu, streaking down the field, and we end the first quarter on an exclamation point. 14-7, Rhode Island with the first 2 scores of the game, but Central Connecticut State answers in a big way. Second quarter action coming up. First round FCS championship returns. Don't go anywhere. Central Connecticut State answering 14 points from Rhode Island with a long score of their own. Brady Olson, the guy just doesn't shake.
He looked really good on this drive, manipulating the coverage, finding his wide receivers, and many of these passing plays were short screens, crossing routes, and they found success over the middle, the weak spot of the defense. Picked up big 3rd down and 4th down conversions, and then finished off the drive going to his best offensive player, Elijah Howard.
Jay Sunhalter, Joe Torti, glad that you could join us here for FCS Championship first round action in Rhode Island. On first down, Marquise Buchanan makes the leaping catch on the delivery from Devin Farrell. He is escorted out of bounds by Styles Mitchell, one of the fastest players on this CCSU defense.
And now for the Blue Devils, you have a really good drive. Now how do you respond on the defensive end? And you haven't had success slowing down the Rams offense, and Adam Lechtenberg has to find a way to create some confusion to slow down this passing attack.
Second down and 6. Farrell back to the air, through the hands of Gaines and incomplete. Tight coverage on that play, but Gaines would tell you that's one that he should have had.
He usually catches this ball, and a little bit behind him as Farrell throws this. There it is, a slant. That's one he usually catches, but he felt Braden Hall, the defensive back, right on his shoulder, and now it sets up a 3rd and 6.
All of a sudden, this is kind of a big 3rd down for URI after the long CCSU drive. Got to keep their offense on the field at this point. Here comes the heat. Farrell tipped, and it falls to the turf, incomplete. Derek Berlitz getting a hand on that one, and your heart just has to be in your throat if you're on offense after that one.
Yeah, that is difficult because it looked like there was an opening for Farrell. But if you're a defensive lineman and you can't get to the quarterback, you got to get your hands up. And good job there, just jumping that passing lane to knock it down. Sherrod Watkins along with Berlitz. That's tandem on the inside doing their job.
So it is a 3 and out. Out comes the punt team for the first time for URI. James Allen, rugby-style punter, booms this one away. Big time CCSU hop out past the 45-yard line. So now all of a sudden Central Connecticut State with a chance to answer with another touchdown drive. Blue Devils looking to tie things up when we come back. Rhode by 7. Rhode Island with a 14-7 lead over Central Connecticut State here in the first round. You might want to be driving the golf ball that way, Jay. The NCAA FCS Championship continues with second round coverage next Saturday on ESPN+. For more information, visit ncaa.com, the home for all NCAA championships. Now, of course, it doesn't matter which way I'm facing. My drive does go that way no matter what, so it works out just fine.
That's a cold wind. That is not a warm summer breeze. It is a Arctic chill.
Now, if you can believe it, this is the good day out of the weekend. It's supposed to rain and be like this tomorrow.
Down on the field pregame, we were talking with one of the assistant coaches, and he said it's beach weather. And that's a positive spin and outlook for the sunny day, but it is going to get much cooler here in the region.
URI's defense back out there. Patrick Conserve paying close attention to Elijah Howard. And the tailback has been essential to CCSU's efforts. He's been a big key for URI's defense. Second down and 9, short pickup there. CCSU, after forcing the first punt of the game for URI, has a chance to tie or at least cut into the lead. Olsen hands off again, and Howard tunneling ahead. Visiting with the coaching staff, Jay, both of them talked about how kind of twitchy and able to get to the outside Howard's been. Hasn't shown that so far today. It's been tough yards.
The defense has done a great job of keeping him to the inside, bottling him up. 6 carries, 6 yards. So he hasn't had that big marquee gain on the ground. And I would expect the Blue Devils to try to use him more in the passing game to open up the running attack.
Good to see A.J. Pena back into the game for URI as well, unless you're a CCSU fan. Back to pass, Olsen looking deep. Tough catch made once again by Trovarelli. And Trovarelli moves the sticks and deep into URI territory. Leaping catch made.
Joe, this is an NFL throw from Brady Olsen. Starts off looking towards the left, and then the pass in between 2 defenders to Trovarelli leaping over the top.
Doesn't get a whole lot better than that. Coming back to the outside this time on the quick delivery. Trovarelli, another catch. Another look at this one.
This is an amazing effort from Olsen, and then Trovarelli going up for that ball. Looked like he was going to get hit, falls backwards, and still had the focus to maintain possession, and he's had a good start to this ball game.
Already up to 6 catches. Second down and 6. Olsen looking, end zone, incomplete. Tight coverage on the play by Ayinde Johnson, not letting Williams get loose.
Well, the success hasn't been there in the running game. Now Olsen, already up to 20 attempts, has looked better, and that ball there, it sailed, but he was trying to put it where only his wide receiver would have a chance. He's protected the ball well today.
You just take a look up front, right, Jay? You've got 2 freshmen and 2 sophomores playing important roles on that offensive line for CCSU. Olsen, flush, sidearm sling to the outside, and a toe-tapping catch made by Sean O'Brien, or was it? Wow, really close there for O'Brien. Looked like he had the toe tap, and either way, he was short. Do give him the catch. It'll be 4th down upcoming.
The offense going to stay out in the field. O'Brien, the second tight end, 6'7", 250 pounds, just sneaks on an out route, is able to hold on to it. And Peter Cleary, their other talented tight end, kind of battling through an injury. It's going to be important for O'Brien to continue his production.
Worth noting, Cleary is active today. 4th down, looking for it all, and it's incomplete. Looked like it sailed a little bit on Olsen. No flags on the field, so URI's offense holds up. Jordan Campbell again.
Campbell really good in coverage, and we've called his name a couple times, coming up in run support and now in coverage. Just sitting out on that island by himself with no safety help over the top and shielded off. Damani Williams, as he was running towards the pylon, there was nowhere to go with that ball.
Rhode Island up by a touchdown, looking for more. Defense does their job. There you go. That's what we're playing for here today, a chance to advance to Music City. Take a look at the field so far for the FCS Championship in 2025. You're going to catch all of the games, of course, right here on the ESPN family of networks. First and second round games on ESPN+. It's an expanded field championship in Nashville on January 5th. Of course, URI visiting with their coaching staff earlier this week. Didn't say it outright, but you got the sense they want and feel like they deserved a first-round bye. Upset that they're even in this first round. Toss to Littleton Jr. And Antoine Littleton Jr., 2 yards and a cloud of dust there.
And Littleton Jr., only 6 carries now to begin this ball game. They've been going through the air, but it was interesting talking with the coaching staff, and they've had a special year and kind of felt like, hey, maybe we should be resting. Now, you can't relay that message to your team because you've got a game that you've got to get ready for, but they felt like they did enough this season to have a bye this weekend.
It was interesting to watch the selection show on ESPNU when UC Davis came up, and URI did too. They were like, oh. They kind of knew where they were going. They wanted that bye. Here's Littleton, a bruising tailback, and credit CCSU and Jack Stoll and company slowing him down because he is going straight ahead. No wiggle in that game at this point.
And he's a big back. And for both of these teams, the goal is to make it to next week and fly out to California.
Well, you know, on the flip side, Jay, of course, you got some warmer weather out there, maybe. Although the offenses have warmed up here. North Dakota State looming. What a powerhouse they've been at the FCS level here. 3rd down and 5 here for Farrell. Rams going against the wind this time. Here comes the heat. Farrell hangs in, delivers, busted coverage, wide open Buchanan. Check that. It's Kwarteng who got free on the outside. Or rather, it's Amari Walker. We'll get it there eventually. Amari Walker got absolutely loose. But to be fair, CCSU's defense looked as lost as I was right there.
Well, this is a full-out blitz, and the extra defender coming, a slant up front, and a great job from Farrell recognizing and reading the defense and seeing there's a bust, and then you find Amari Walker, your senior wide receiver, sprinting wide open down the sidelines.
Walker, the Arkansas State transfer, got loose. Farrell hands off on the jet sweep around the edge. Barrow taking it, still on his feet, inside the 10. And B.J. Barrow kept his legs moving. And URI, after that big pop play, feeling the momentum shift back their way.
And you have a big play over the top, and then you go back to the ground and try to establish Barrow to the outside. That's where his strength is, using his quickness, and then it's just the power and the want to from him continuing to move that pile a couple extra yards.
A stiff arm that he delivered some punishment on that play. 1st down and goal for URI. Farrell to the air, looking, juggling, and dropping it as Gaines. Would have been a tough one to make that play. Braden Hall tight in coverage.
That's a fun matchup with Hall going against Gaines out on the outside, and Farrell knows exactly where he's going with this ball. It's a back shoulder fade and just threw it a little bit towards the sideline, and Gaines couldn't haul it in.
Farrell with 2 touchdown tosses today. 2nd down and goal. See, he's only missed 4 times, and a couple of those would have been tough catches by Gaines. On 2nd and goal. Farrell looking, corner, through the hands of Buchanan and incomplete. Pretty close there. Chris Jean tight in coverage. That's a tough paper route.
And he just said, I couldn't see it. And that's one Buchanan always catches. And Buchanan does a corner route, couldn't catch it. And he said, and kind of mouthed there to the coaching staff, I couldn't see it. As he's going up, he's looking right into the sun, and as we said, we're down the field pregame. It is glaring. It is very difficult when you're looking towards that end of the field.
For these two teams, the longer the shadows on this field get, the better. Farrell's missed his last 2 on good tosses. 3rd and goal, hanging in there. Farrell making one miss. He can move. Farrell stretching out pylon and a huge tackle. Touchdown saving tackle by TJ Shitu, the sophomore from Houston, Texas, or else that would have been a touchdown plunge for Farrell.
That was really good hustle coming over as Farrell gets out of the pocket, and he is dangerous with his legs. He's looking to throw first and just reads it, feels the pressure from Stoll up the middle, then takes a big shot as he's looking to get to the pylon.
4th down and goal, offense staying out there for URI. Now a timeout called. CCSU taking their first timeout of this first half. Farrell and company will have some extra time to think about it here. Both teams have been willingly going for it on 4th down. We'll see what Rhode Island comes up with. It's 4th down and goal. URI looking to build on their 7-point lead. Well, just like this time last year, URI up 14-0 in the first quarter before Central Connecticut State climbing back into it to make this one tight. Jay Sunhalter, Joe Torti here with you. Monster play looming here in the second. Jay, 4th and goal. Where does URI go here?
Now, this is a big one. I think for URI, where do you go? Well, it's your best player on offense, Marquise Buchanan, 6'4", 190 pounds. He's got a size advantage down here in the red zone. I would throw it up to him and let him have a chance at this in a one-on-one passing play.
Buchanan tied with Monmouth wide receiver Josh Derry for the most receiving yards in the FCS this season, 11:23 coming into this game. Pitch to the outside, Littleton has a seam and he's in for the score. Touchdown Rams.
Jim Fleming in this offense finishing it off here. 4th and short, they go with double tights. Bring in Nick Thomas, the left guard, as an extra tight end, and trust that Littleton can pick it up, and he does enough barreling forward for a key touchdown.
Hard to stop that guy from moving forward and getting a yard. Garth White on for the point after try. Kick is up and it is good. So there you go, URI able to cash in on that 4th and goal opportunity. A touchdown plunge for Antoine Littleton Jr. And now CCSU will have to answer this 8-play, 77-yard drive.
A good job finishing, and that's the key word for both teams today is you got to execute on those 3rd and 4th down conversions. And if you don't execute there, if you don't make the key blocks up front, you're giving the ball back to the Blue Devils with no points on the board. But Jim Fleming has to be pleased with how his offense moved the ball down the field, and then they finished there on the goal line.
This is a CCSU side that's allowed just south of 23 points per game all season. So certainly not a team that is eager to get into shootouts necessarily. Their defense has set the tone for them in a lot of ways. White is about to boom this one away. Into the wind, he puts it high into the air, and this one will be fielded at the 10-yard line. And Turner goes down. Not a whole lot of room for the returner. Check that. That is Donovan Marcus. Last drive here, take a look.
The offense and Farrell looked really good, and this was the big passing play over the top to Amari Walker that really kick-started the drive. And then keeping the ball on the ground, it was Barrow and Littleton Jr. having some nice gains on the ground. And Farrell doing all he could, trying to will himself into the end zone. But then they just said, all right, let's put in the big boys up front. Couple extra tight ends, give the ball to Littleton and let him go to work.
Now CCSU, 1st down and 10 here. Howard finally has a little bit of room, and Howard tripped up after a nice pickup there on 1st down. Makes it out to the 19-yard line. get the impression if he kept his footing, he would have been running for a while.
But he almost was able to keep his balance there, and he would have been off to the races. And a good job bringing him down there in the secondary. Otherwise, that would have been a big game.
Instead, it's a 2nd down and 3 upcoming here. Olsen back to the air looking, batted down, incomplete. Moses Muse nearly had the interception on that play.
Muse was not fooled, but I'll tell you, they're trying to sneak Howard out of the backfield. You see him, little arrow route, trying to go over the top of Muse, and he was just sitting there in coverage. Good job playing with his eyes. You see 53 backpedaling, almost picked that one off.
Big sigh of relief for Brady Olsen and CCSU. It's a 3rd down and 3. Here comes the heat off the edge. Howard makes the catch over the 20-yard line, and right at the sticks. He's going to have enough to move the chains for a 1st down based on that initial spot. Referee comes in from the backside, though, and says that he's short. This near side official looked like he was pointing to move the chains, but now out comes the punt unit. And at the very least, the wind's at the back now of Zach Bonini.
They did not allow yards after contact as Howard catches this ball. He's been a weapon out of the backfield. There, looked like he had enough initially. Rohan Davey, the outside linebacker, with a strong hit.
Great play by Davey there. This one trying to rack up the ground mileage. And a nice special teams tackle there to limit the damage. Buchanan was back to return, had plenty of space initially, but good job by the coverage unit of CCSU. It's always important to take a look at how we got where we are, and of course you talked about for the Rhode Island Rams, it has been a dominant campaign, but not completely without the bumps and bruises along the way. Visiting with the coaching staff, they talked especially about those middle 2 losses that they had at the middle of their season, culminating with the Brown loss. They kind of had a come-together moment, and players only led it. All of a sudden now they're off and running. 2nd straight CAA championship, and look at what they're doing in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, and it says a lot about the character of a team, the conditioning, and also just the want-to and the finish for a ball club to be that dominant. It says a lot about the culture of the program for the Rams.
Farrell going to the air on 1st down, and it's incomplete. Braden Hall, who else has been in the area?
You talked about that middle part of the season, the last week of September, and then the 1st week of October against Western Michigan and Brown, 2 away games. Something clicked, and they had that moment where they got together as a team and really decide, hey, we want to change course here and make this a special season. And they haven't looked back, but this is a whole new ball club from that point forward, and just how they really blew out their opponents.
On 2nd down, that one is dropped, incomplete, gains again, and Farrell having trouble getting that connection going. And to talk about that once again, there you go, at Western Michigan, at Brown. And you look at the games before that, it's not that they were playing poorly, but then you look at what happened after that. 6 straight wins, none by fewer than 11 points.
And they really just took off, and everything was looking good at the beginning of the season, and then you stub your toe. And how are you going to react? Well, you get into conference play and you react the right way. A lot of blowouts there against those opponents that know you well. Conference games tend to always be close, right? Well, not for the Rams. They really turned it on and surged toward the latter part of the season.
You take a look, it's not just offensively, what they did defensively as well. As the player down on the field, by the way, is right tackle Thomas Buxton, and that would be a big loss if he's not able to return promptly, because he's been such a huge part of what they've done in the run game.
Buxton, 21 straight starts, and a talented player on the edge protecting Farrell, and a good sign with him sitting up, but he is one of the key pieces to this frontline unit.
Grad student, Atlantica Harbor, New Jersey. Being tended to by the athletic training staff here at URI. Good to see Buxton being helped up. See the senior providing leadership on that line, and he's a big reason why this offensive unit has been so special.
You have to have strong tackles, and whenever you have veterans up front, that leadership permeates throughout the locker room, and everybody respects the O-line and the effort that they put in, and Buxton is one of those guys. And not much pressure on that right foot. They hope that he'll be able to kind of come back from that. Not a good sign there, hopping on one leg.
Nick Thomas replaced him. Farrell on 3rd and 10. Good protection over the middle. Connor Feiner, who's been quiet since that opening drive, gets about 8 of it there. Braden Hall was in the area, Eric Jackson as well, and now out comes the punt unit for URI. Good defensive stand there for CCSU.
You mentioned Nick Thomas coming in the ball game. He did a nice job sealing off the edge for Farrell, and Feiner going across the middle just couldn't get enough. That wall on the defensive side held them up short.
So on 4th and 1, out comes the punt unit. This one another short punt, and it bounces right up into the midsection of a Rhode Ram down there on the coverage. Tremmel Straits Jones. Looked at the URI journey for Central Connecticut State, battling in an NEC that was so balanced top to bottom. They split the championship last year with Duquesne, but you look at some of the teams that they've played, that Dartmouth team before Yale upset Harvard. Dartmouth was in the discussion as potentially being an at-large team in the Ivy League, and then of course the NEC schedule so tough.
It wasn't smooth sailing, but a successful year, and I was impressed with that last victory against Mercyhurst, the way you close out your season and respond after the Duquesne game.
2-touchdown lead for Rhode Island. Clock ticking down towards 4.5 minutes left in the half. Olsen back to the air on 1st down. Joe Cravassi makes the 9-yard reception there, brings up a 2nd down and 1.
There was timing, and now the Blue Devils, they have another injury. They were looking to go no huddle.
It'll be an official's timeout on the field. The players being tended to. Mitchell Garner is the player who's down. Good to see him getting up. Garner, Davey, and Muse, all 3 of those sophomore linebackers for URI. A big reason why they can afford to play with 2 down linemen and stay in that 2-4-5 package. Glen Burnie, Maryland native. Hopefully he's able to return quickly. 2nd down and 1 for CCSU. Olsen pulls it out, and another delivery to Trovarelli. This time, nowhere to go. Good coverage on the play by the defensive back for the University of Rhode Island. DJ Curitin, the junior from Wake Forest, North Carolina, making that stop.
Curitin there wrapping up and very physical from his cornerback position, and this has been a solid group in the secondary with their tackling and not allowing yards after the catch.
Fresh set of downs, though, for CCSU. Handoff, Howard, stiff arm, 2 stiff arms, and he fought pretty hard to get to the sideline. But good sideline-to-sideline coverage by URI, even though Pena didn't make the initial tackle, he did bottle him up.
There's Andre DePina-Gray, one of the best football players on this team, coming up from the safety position. And there's Pena, vocal as well. Both those guys talking to Howard after the play.
One-yard gain there for Howard. Low snap, Olsen has to go down for it. Throws it, and it's broken up incomplete. Trovarelli was the intended target. Jordan Campbell in coverage, but that could have been a whole lot worse for CCSU.
That was a disaster waiting to happen. Credit Olsen. He stays calm, doesn't panic as this ball is rolled back to him and he's almost able to complete this pass.
Zach Razawi, the redshirt freshman center. That was good coverage on that play by Campbell, or else it might have ended up being a catch anyway, given that Trovarelli's basically caught everything else. 3rd and 8.
They've had success with crossing routes over the middle on 3rd down pickups.
Looking to the sideline, Howard, one-on-one. Turned back at the 40-yard line, and that was a great play on the outside. Really impressive coverage, and the defensive backs have been really good for URI, especially tracking down Howard in space. Look at this.
Well, Howard gets this ball, and you see the Rams just flying over to make the play, and Johnson comes over with the initial hit, and then you see everybody coming over. There's nowhere to go because they're playing good, solid team defense, everybody doing their job and making it difficult on the talented running back.
Yinde Johnson, the LIU transfer, certainly not worried about that on the outside. Some corners one-on-one with a back out there might have had second thoughts. Johnson's been there before. Timeout called by CCSU, 2:28 left in the half. That'll be their second timeout, so they'll have one more timeout plus the 2-minute timeout. After a really hot start for Rhode Island, feels like the pace, especially the scoring pace, has slowed down a little bit in this one. Jay, what have you seen?
Both teams started to settle in, and the defense is making adjustments, and you haven't seen those big plays. I think the secondaries have done a much better job in coverage and also coming up and making tackles. How many missed tackles have we seen today? How many penalties as well?
True.
This has been a clean ball game. 0 penalties for each team and missed tackles. I haven't seen them. I mean, both defensive coordinators have to be pleased with the adjustments each side has made as this game's went on.
Buchanan back to return for Rhode Island. Benini with the wind at his back. Fair catch called for and made by Buchanan at the 24, call it the 23-yard line. And let's take a look here. These teams are competing for an FCS championship, but there have only been so many different teams that have won in recent history. North Dakota State, of course, big-time powerhouse, including that run from 2011 through 2015. South Dakota State, one of the teams that's managed, well, actually the only one that's managed to defeat them in the championship in that 22-23 season. Then, of course, the Bearcats of Sam Houston taking it down in 2021. The impressive performance by Sam Houston. James Madison winning a title, 16-17. Eastern Washington, 2010-2011. Rhode Island to the air on first down. Connor Feiner making the catch, and the tight end who had the opening scoring touchdown on a scramble drill with Devin Farrell has had kind of a quiet half since then. Might be the final play here before the 2-minute timeout, resembling but legally distinct from the 2-minute warning. We'll be right back. Rhode Island with a 21-7 lead over Central Connecticut State. FCS Championship first round action from Meade Stadium continues. Don't go anywhere. Here is the 2-minute timeout. Coming up at halftime, you'll meet Tarleton State's Brad Larson and hear his inspiring story. You won't want to miss it, and we'll have first half highlights and stats. Jay Sunhalter, Joe Torty, glad that you could join us here. Adam Lechtenberg's CCSU Blue Devils trying to make sure that the lead for URI remains 14 going into the half. Devin Farrell and company trying to put together a good drive to close out this first half, where they've been solidly in the driver's seat. Here comes the heat again. Farrell on first down, into the slot, complete, has his man. First down yardage and more. And Greg Gaines this time finally able to make that connection. And you can see what he can do with the ball in his hands after the catch.
There was a missed tackle there, and Gaines just slips away. The pressure up front doesn't get to Farrell, and that allows no room for error if you're a secondary player, and Gaines make that man miss, and he picks up positive yards after the catch.
Farrell looking sideline, and a stop route there on Gaines. He makes the catch. CCSU appealing for a penalty, not going to get one.
This is focus and concentration from Gaines as he catches this ball. There's Farrell again, moving the safeties over. Gaines was initially held, then like they pushed down Braden Hall, or he fell backwards as Gaines holds onto it, gets that foot in bounds.
Hall, the Coastal Carolina transfer in coverage. 2 timeouts for URI. Farrell stepping up, makes one miss. Off his back foot, has a man open, and it's dropped. Incomplete. Abora Kwarteng would have moonwalked his way into the end zone, but he couldn't come up with the catch.
This was an amazing effort from Farrell, and a missed opportunity for this offense as Farrell felt the pressure, and we'll see where the flag is, but he did a good job getting in and out of that pocket to try to make a play.
It's down near midfield.
Personal foul, face mask, offense, number 79, 15-yard penalty, they play first down.
Jason Soisman, Hamani Carter, John Rice, Jared Williams, Andre Patterson, Harlan Johnson, Bobby Gallagher, and Jesse Garcia, this crew. There you go, personal foul on this face mask.
And over on that left side, they called it on the left tackle, Brock Bethea. That arm up towards the face mask.
It's a big one on the Chattanooga transfer. 38 straight starts for Bethea. Farrell making some magic happen back there. Farrell has room and goes out of bounds at the 46-yard line. That looked like it could have been way worse, but Farrell turned on the Jets.
And that's what makes him such a special player, is the ability to get away from the pressure. And Derek Berlitz, the defensive end, number 27, you'll see him winning up front, then just chasing Farrell, doing whatever he can to track him down, and Farrell too quick getting out of the pocket, picking up positive yards with his legs.
Brings up a second down and forever. Ball spotted at the 46 of CCSU. Line to gain is the 28. Another blitz over the middle. Completion once again to Kwarteng. Crosses the 40-yard line down to the 37, call it the 38. And this offense now with a third down, and you don't want to call this manageable, but compared to what they were looking at, they'll take it.
Yeah, they just chopped into it now, going no huddle, sprinting up to the line of scrimmage, try to get the defense on their heels.
CCSU with one timeout. Farrell steps up, floats it, complete. Gaines makes the catch, and he is going absolutely nowhere. Stopped by Eric Jackson, a redshirt freshman safety who's a captain as a redshirt freshman.
He had 11 tackles last week, and coming up with a big stick to make the play, and that was a crossing route. And Jackson, very physical, as Rhode Island is going to have a decision here of what they want to do.
Talking about potentially a 50-yarder into the wind. Now timeout called by Central Connecticut State. That'll be their last one with 10 seconds left here. And what do you do?
This wind is a factor. And I think if you send your field goal kicking unit out on the field, you've got to have confidence that they can drive the ball through. And we saw pregame the effect of the wind, and the ball just stops. And you said it throughout this broadcast, it's like a wall out there. So this is going to be very challenging if they decide to go for three, and Adam Lechtenberg has to be prepared for the field goal block or his defense coming back out on the field. But I don't know in this situation if you can attempt this. I think with your wide receivers, 10 seconds left, got 3 that are over 6 feet tall. You give them a chance either in the end zone or a short passing play. 10 seconds, probably enough time potentially for 2 plays if you pick this up, but I think they're going to go deep here.
As somebody who's done it, what's it like to try to catch passes in these conditions?
Well, it is very challenging with the wind, but also you add in the sun factor, and they're at that end of the field where Buchanan had difficulty earlier on here in the second quarter, so this is not ideal for a wide receiver.
4th and 6. 2 timeouts for Rhode Island. Farrell coming short, complete. Nice pickup there for Feiner. That'll be a first down. Flag is down on the field.
Defense. That penalty would be a fine. Something players first down. Game clock starting snap.
It's not that it hurt Central Connecticut State. It's got to be frustrating, though, coming out of a timeout.
You don't want any penalties. There's substitutions, and there's Feiner. Quick out route, getting past the chain, and they tried to disguise it with the wide receivers up top. All 3 wideouts with the coverage shaded over towards them, and it allowed Feiner to do work on that sideline.
Jim Fleming calling timeout for Rhode Island. Second called timeout of the half. They have 1 remaining and 6 seconds left. So what are you thinking here, Jay? You could get closer for a field goal. You do have the 1 timeout left, or you might have 1 shot at the end zone.
Yeah, and you're playing with fire here. If you run a play and you don't get it, you're not going to have a chance for that field goal. And again, I think it goes back to, do you have confidence that you can kick it through this wind? And I believe that Jim Fleming says, hey, let's give it a try. I've got confidence that we can go out here and execute with Garth White.
White's long is 54 on the season. And here he goes. This one will be from 42. Good snap, good hold. White's kick is up. It has the distance and the direction. It's good. As time expires here in the second, White had all he had into that strike to make it a 24-7 halftime lead for Rhode Island. Plus, Rhode has the option to receive for the second half.
Garth White driving this ball 42 yards, but that wind a factor as it just crosses with enough distance, and the decision from Jim Fleming pays off, knowing White's range and having faith that he can get that ball through the brisk wind and the conditions. It pays off and they stretch out this lead.
24-7 is the margin after 2 quarters. Rhode Island striking first and striking last. As we mentioned, they'll get the ball as well to begin the second half, so they have the chance to put some distance between themselves and CCSU. Meanwhile, Blue Devils kept him out of the end zone, but that field goal has to sting. So let's bring in Jim Fleming, the head coach of the Rhode Island Rams. Coach, we've been talking about it all broadcast. What impact is the wind and the conditions having on how you're making those decisions?
Well, you saw the kickoffs, right? I mean, those things are dying like a duck. So we had a problem when we were them, the way they were kicking off into us. But, you know, it's starting to settle down a little bit, but it certainly does affect the kicking game. You witness that all half long.
And Devin Farrell has looked really good throwing the ball, 15 for 22 in the first half. What have you thought about his performance?
Well, I think what I think every week about him, I think he's an outstanding football player that goes through his progressions and delivers the ball. I think he's had a couple of drops in the first half. You know, we got to tighten those things up, and then got to go out and we got to get the run game going a little bit better and just keep balance to the second half.
Coach, thanks a lot. Good luck in the second half.
All right, man. Thank you.
There you go, Jim Fleming, the head coach of URI, making the tough calls, kicking at the end of the half. Halftime coverage, stats, highlights, and more coming your way next. You're watching FCS Championship Round 1 action right here on ESPN.
Welcome back to ESPN's coverage of the FCS playoffs. I'm Matt Schick. Tarleton State is certainly making their mark on the FCS. In their second full season of postseason eligibility, the Texans won their conference and are a top 4 seed. For kicker Brad Larson, it's the biggest stage he's ever been on, but not the most difficult challenge he's ever faced. Lisa Salters has the story of how Larson has spent a lifetime overcoming and giving back.
It's a 37-yard field goal, the biggest in school history. Can you imagine?
I said it's going to come down to me. Stadium gets twice as loud, and all I can hear is my heart.
Field goals are never just about the distance traveled or the path taken. They also require focus and fortitude, poise, and perseverance. For Tarleton State kicker Brad Larson, those qualities were developed very early in life.
The day he was born was amazing. He was born completely healthy and, just beautiful. His dad was super excited. He went and got him a Green Bay Packer outfit as soon as we found out that it was a boy.
He was my first son. I just remember being so happy to have one daughter and one son, just knowing that, one day him and I are going to be playing sports together, watching sports.
But those plans were almost immediately interrupted when Brad was 4 weeks old.
Something was blocking the air passage, and so he ended up having a surgery to clear the passage. And the doctors told us it should stop bleeding by the end of the day, and it really never stopped bleeding 100%.
Our pediatrician took one look at Bradley and said, let's walk on over to the hospital.
Brad was immediately admitted to the University of Kentucky Children's Hospital and diagnosed with acute megakaryoblast leukemia, a very rare type of blood cancer that attacks the bone marrow's ability to create healthy cells and can severely affect growth and development.
It's kind of like a parent's worst nightmare. Doctors told us survival rate was around 25%.
We were told to get our affairs in order, spend as much time with him. Don't take any moment for granted. We had several very scary days. There was one day his platelets got so low and he just started bleeding out, and I thought that was gonna be, his time. Sorry. I just had to be strong, because he needed me to be there for him.
3 rounds of chemotherapy every day. They were taking blood. We celebrated our holidays in that hospital room. We had Halloween, and I remember Stacy got him a Superman costume, and I thought that was very fitting.
After spending 17 weeks in the hospital, Brad went into remission at 6 months old and was allowed to go home.
The doctor said, now, I want to just kind of level set your expectations, with all the treatment he had. He's not gonna be your athletic kid, and he may struggle a little bit, academically, but, we're obviously just very happy that he was alive.
Bradley, did you find a pumpkin?
Within weeks of returning home, Brad doubled his weight. And despite the doctor's concern about his development, he continued to hit one growth milestone after another.
The doctor tells you he's not going to be athletic, but it doesn't mean he can't play sports, right? So started playing soccer when he was 3 years old, and you could tell he had something special. I was just happy that he was out there kicking a ball, but he could run faster than everybody, he could dribble faster than everybody. I just remember watching him and just saying, wow, this is not normal.
Gave me an outlet. I made a lot of trips to the hospital after the aftermath for checkups, like twice a year, and I dreaded it. I was scared that the cancer was gonna come back. That was a big fear of my childhood. I would cry at night, I'd cry in the shower, I'd have bad dreams. But you play sports and you step foot on the field, you're not worrying. You're having fun, having a good time with your team.
It really kept him busy and took his mind off of things. And I mean, when we say like he played sports, he poured himself into sports.
By the time he reached high school, the family had moved to Texas, and soccer had been replaced by football and a new purpose. Brad partnered with Alex's Lemonade Stand, a charity dedicated to fighting childhood cancer.
In high school, we'd be on the bus going back to our facility, and I just can't wait to get on my phone and put how many points I scored that game, because the money's in pledge amounts. It means the world to me. Because I know that my parents struggled during that time. I know it was very hard for them. And I just know how much that would mean to families.
In 2023 and 2024, Brad continued to raise money while leading Division II Angelo State in scoring before transferring to Tarleton State for his final season.
The senior transfer from Angelo State, Brad Larson from Prosper, Texas. Here we go to shock the nation. And it is good! Tarleton State takes down Army. What a moment in program history.
In one moment, the boy who was never meant to play sports delivered Tarleton State's biggest win ever.
I went straight to my family. My dad was just, he was electric. I could just see my mom just bawling. That was my favorite moment.
It was kind of hard not to have in the back of my mind what those doctors had said to us all those years ago. He's not going to be your athlete. He's not going to be your superstar. I thought of just how special it was to be there and what a miracle he was.
I think about my journey a lot. Having almost a constant pressure in your life, on the field, off the field, all that leads up to where I'm at now. The fact that I am here, that God has put me on this earth, I feel like that it's for a reason.
Brad ended up raising $14,000 in donations off of the kick against Army, and as of today has raised more than $50,000 to fight childhood cancer. And at a recent game against Eastern Kentucky, he was reunited with one of the nurses that took care of him when he was a baby. I'm Matt Schick. ESPN's coverage of the FCS playoffs continues after this break.
Look at the first half stats. What jumps out to you, Jay?
Well, I'll tell you what, for Central Connecticut State, 0 penalties, 0 turnovers. You'd figure, hey, we wouldn't be facing a 17-point deficit, but they're in that position. Rhode Island's had explosive plays through the air. Now, how are the Blue Devils going to come back here in the second half? That's got to be the discussion, the adjustments they've got to make to try to find some explosives, and especially here the first 10 minutes, get back into this ball game. So we'll see what the coaching staff decides here as we come back.
Rhode Island with a big lead over CCSU in the first half. This is how they got there.
Yeah, Devin Farrell coming out really strong to begin this ball game, finding Finer down on the sideline, then Buchanan over the middle, and Joe, he was in a groove, looking confident throwing the football, and the Blue Devils had to find a response, and they went to Howard.
Yeah, who else? Thought that he'd get it done on the ground, just like this guy, Littleton. Took kind of a back seat, but he's been a bruiser so far.
Yeah, he hasn't been highlighted. It's been Farrell throwing the football, but I would expect the Rams to try to establish that ground game here in the second half.
Now CCSU all set to boot this one away. What's it mean for Adam Lechtenberg's staff to have to go back out and have the comeback begin on defense in the second half?
I think the message to that defense is, hey, I need a turnover. We've got to kickstart our offense, and we need you to step up and make a play. And over on the other side, Jim Fleming, strong drive there to close out the first half, getting a field goal. And his quarterback has played really well in these conditions that are windy, it's blustery out there, and you think this would be a running game. It's really been the opposite of what we expected.
CCSU bottling up that kick return. And we welcome you back inside the booth. Jason Halter, Joe Torty. So glad that you could join us here. And Jay, all Rhode Island in that first half, how'd they do it?
Well, really coming out, they were aggressive through the air. And Jim Fleming having trust in that passing game with his wide receivers and quarterback. They were clicking, the offensive line protected up front, and then the defense, after that one drive from Central Connecticut State, they really settled in. They did a good job of stopping Elijah Howard. That was their number one key, was slowing down number 7, and I thought they did a nice job in the first half.
Certainly something that was very important to both coaching staffs all week long, as on first down, the handoff goes to Smith, or check that, Littleton rather, who gets the carry. And Littleton, we talked about a guy who can break out. He's an 1,100-yard rusher this season, but not a whole lot going right now in this one.
I think the defensive game plan was to stop the ground attack, and with these conditions, see if the Rams could have success through the air, and we saw that answer. They did have success. So coming out here, how are the Blue Devils going to try to change up their strategy? I think it'll be interesting to see if they try to bring some of those safeties down and try to slow down Farrell.
Farrell coming back to Buchanan, who makes the catch at midfield. Man, Farrell, so impressive. You almost saw him going through the progressions there.
And he is difficult to defend because as a secondary player, you've got to hang in coverage for so long because he can move in and out of the pocket. This was a play action pass. He didn't like what he saw initially. He was looking towards the left, then comes off that read and back to Buchanan that just kept working across the middle of the field.
And Jim Fleming told us right before he went into the locker room at halftime, if it weren't for the drops, Farrell had just about a perfect first half, as Littleton gets the carry there.
I think for Littleton, sitting at 9 carries, I think the goal will be for him to finish well over 20. I think they want to get him going here in the second half to narrow this ball game down and help Farrell in the passing game even more. If you can have that ground attack where the linebackers are coming up, that's going to open up the play action game.
Winner of this game playing for the right to cross the country and take on UC Davis. Play action again, Farrell. Has time as he rolls, hit as he throws, and held on just a little too long. Players jump on that ball, but Farrell was knocked down by Gavin Taylor. Incomplete pass is the ruling there. And coaching staff, defensive-wise, Ron DeGravio telling us Gavin Taylor is a player who is playing way above the FCS level.
He's a great athlete, and his motor is running at all times there. He fights through a double team. It does not give up on the play. So many times you'll see guys loafing, not playing all the way to the whistle. That is not Taylor's game. And he can make an impact because of that extra effort plus his talent.
Brings up a 3rd down and 8. Play clock winding down. And this one's not going to work out. Delay of game is the call. As they back up 5 yards, we'll take another look at the bracket. What's ahead? We mentioned the UC Davis game, and then Southeast Louisiana taking on Illinois State for the right to play North Dakota State. No goodie.
North Dakota State just lurking there on the other side. You got to worry about today, obviously. Then UC Davis ball club that's resting up, but this will be an interesting side of the bracket to see how things shake out.
Farrell, pocket presence, delivers on target once again to Feiner. Feiner spins over the 45-yard line. And man, with the pocket collapsing in around Farrell, you just saw him standing tall and delivering.
And so many quarterbacks get happy feet or they look at the pass rush, and Farrell keeps his eyes downfield, and he just is composed, doesn't let it affect him. And you see, it looks like no one's rushing around him. The way he just looks comfortable and finds his open wide receivers. And they didn't get enough here, but hoping to flip the field position with their kicking unit.
Gave Feiner a chance to do it after the catch. Instead, on 4th and 4, movement up front. Looks like this might be turning into 4th and 9. Another penalty here. Really a well-played first half in terms of penalties. Didn't see a ton of them in the first 2 quarters of play.
It's very rare. Usually we're saying, hey, the teams need to clean things up. But this ball game, I think both coaching staffs have to be very pleased with the discipline that their teams have shown and just the flow to this ball game, and also how this game has been called. Very fair from these officials.
Braden Hall back to return this one. This is a beautiful punt. Best of the day by either team. And a casual one-handed snag there by Feiner on the coverage team as well. And that is where Central Connecticut State's offense will take the field. They survived the opening drive here for Rhode Island. Brady Olson and company taking the field, looking to cut into this lead. Take a look at what they've done so far. They've had that huge drive right there in the middle, that third drive. Other than that, it's been nothing doing for the Blue Devils.
Yeah, 3 3-and-outs. And in order to have a comeback, you've got to take it possession by possession. Now, the defense did their job. They have a long field to go here, 85 yards. I think with Olson, this veteran group for the Blue Devils, they feel that sense of urgency, and they've got to get it going right here, right now.
On 1st and 10, Olson looking over the middle again. Who else? Michael Trovarelli making the catch there. Nice pickup there of 6 or 7 yards. Brings up a 2nd down and 3.
Well, this offense has had success in the intermediate area. There hasn't been those big passing plays over the top, and I feel like they've got to test out the safety unit for Rhode Island and try to get some big plays through the air.
Olson feeling the heat, delivers it on time. Marsh Jr., a big hit delivered at the end of that play. And man, I don't know if I'd necessarily want to be on the receiving end. Trey Lubin found out.
Marsh is pretty imposing down there, and is not a normal wide receiver. With the ball in his hands, he turns into a running back, and look at him seeking out contact. Slipped down as he finished off lowering his shoulder, but he's a guy out wide that is very difficult to defend with his speed and size.
1st and 10, Howard gets the carry right into the waiting arms of A.J. Pena, who turns him back. And you can just see how important Pena is to this Rhode Island Rams defense.
He's a force on the edge. Watch number 8 on the left side of the screen, fighting off the block from the tight end, and there's nothing Sean O'Brien can do in that situation. The leverage of Pena gets underneath him and then turns back into Howard.
Flag came down late.
Defense, number 8. 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
That's the first one called against A.J. Pena, and that's when a great play turns into a bad play.
Well, and he was very demonstrative over towards the sideline of Central Connecticut State. And watch him make the play, then goes over. A lot of words over on that side. And he's an emotional player, and that's what makes him so good, is that leadership and just the energy that he brings. But there, he got caught with a little extra.
Olson back to the air on 1st down. Trovarelli has room in front of him. Trovarelli takes a big hit at the 31-yard line. But this CCSU offense is on the move. Andre DePina-Gray delivering the hit. And here come the Blue Devils.
9 catches for Trovarelli. He was a walk-on initially, then turned himself into an all-conference performer. This is a nice route going in, cutting to the outside, and then the yards after the catch. It's going to be important here in the 2nd half.
Howard going in motion. Olson over the middle, combat catch not able to be made, incomplete. Marsh was in the area, tight coverage by DePina-Gray again.
DePina-Gray, a really good football player with instincts in reading the eyes of Olson to jump in the passing lane. See that coverage, 2 guys in the vicinity, and that's a difficult ball for Olson to try to squeeze in.
Brings up a 2nd down and 10 now. Another empty look for CCSU. Olson over the middle, had the screen set up beautifully for Howard, but he couldn't hang on. 3rd and 10 coming up.
And Howard is such a good runner, and he is equally as good as a wide receiver. And on that screen that was set up for him, that had an opportunity for a big play. As Olson's here in the shotgun, the pass rush gets through, just a little crossing screen, and he could have been off for a touchdown, Joe. I mean, this was all set up, the offensive line out in front, just tried to turn upfield too quickly.
It's a point of pride for Howard as well, because as an all-conference performer last year, Offensive Player of the Year last year, he wanted to add that to his bag. He's put in so much work in the receiving game. Here's Olson, flushed from the pocket. Here comes the pursuit. Olsen staying free, fires it, nearly intercepted. Jordan Campbell was in the area. And my, oh my, that close to a Rhode Island takeaway. Instead, it's 4th and 10.
Campbell's played really well today. We've called his name a couple times here in pass coverage. And as the chase is on, Olsen kind of throws it into harm's way, and the Blue Devils are going to try to put points on the board with the field goal kicking unit.
Moses Muse was all over it in pursuit. This is Jack Hennessy. The freshman is hit from 40. This one does not quite have the leg. Well short. Not sure if somebody got a hand on that one from 48. I have to take another look. Looked like it might have been partially blocked on the way. Rhode Island sending their offense back out onto the field. Take another look at this one. Looked like somebody might have gotten just a finger on this. Maybe not. 24-7, the lead for Rhode Island. Take a look at the last 5 teams to wear the crown in the FCS playoffs here. North Dakota State doing it a couple of times, as did South Dakota State. Sam Houston crashing the party in 2020.
Well, the South Dakota Jackrabbits, you have those back-to-back years. So it's so difficult, and that's sandwiched in between the Bison, who's the #1 seed. So I think we're going to have another really good playoff run here and a lot of worthy teams competing for the championship.
Well, here's what the road to Broadway in Nashville, Tennessee looks like. Important dates here. We got the first round action happening all across the country, and then a couple more rounds to go before punching your ticket to Music City. Jay Sonhalter, Joe Torti here with you. Glad that you could join us here. Farrell getting it away and just dumps it at the feet of Marquise Buchanan, incomplete. Gavin Taylor in there pursuing him, as was Devin Anderson, the Bryant transfer.
And somehow the Blue Devils have to create a spark on the defensive end. You're down 17 points. Your offense is having some difficulties going against the Rams defense, and you've got to kind of change the momentum here, and that's got to be the thought process if you're a defender out on the field.
Brendan Barrow getting that tote, coming off of a 5-carry, 50-yard touchdown effort against Hampton. And he's been a pretty good secondary ball carrier for URI.
And the balance in the running game, as far as the styles of Barrow and Littleton, it's really impressive. And those guys share the load. They keep each other fresh. Barrow quicker, Littleton power. But both of those guys get a lot of carries, and they have trust from the coaching staff.
23 rushing touchdowns by 6 different players on this URI team. Farrell rolling. Boy, he is slippery. Delivers complete on target. And that is Amari Walker making the catch. Had the long one in the first half. Has been quiet since then, but that's a tough one on the crossing route.
And this is fantastic work from Farrell. Most quarterbacks, it's a sack. It's a huge loss. And he backpedals. That is an impossible throw when you're going backwards and throwing across your body and still finding a way to be accurate. I mean, look at this. You're feeling the pressure, you're backpedaling and throwing off balance.
Player down is Styles Mitchell, who is well down the field, actually, away from the play for CCSU. Mentioned Mitchell, an absolute speed burner, Appalachian State transfer, and such an enormous part of what they do in the defensive secondary. Being tended to by the athletic training staff. Middletown product, and such a bright future in front of him. He was well away from the play, covering a downfield receiver as Walker caught it on the crosser. It's good to see him rising up to his feet. In Central Connecticut State, we talked about what a speed burner Styles Mitchell is. Check this out. You hear a lot of guys have track star speed. Well, Styles Mitchell puts his money where his mouth is. The school record holder in the 100-meter dash. 10.4900. That's only like 10 times faster than I would run it. But Jay, I think you'd be right there with him.
I would probably pull a muscle after the first 10 meters and watch his breakaway speed. One of the best athletes in the country, and you see him just pull away. And I'd be well behind, probably holding my leg there. But good to see him get helped off, and just a fantastic player here on the football field, and that competitive nature transfers over to the track where he's been so impressive, and keep improving, and maybe an Olympic future for Mitchell.
Now, if you're URI, what's the temptation to go deep here and test the new secondary player? Well, they hold on for now. Barrow gets the carry, flags down in the backfield, but Barrow with a really good carry. We'll see if it holds up.
Flag on the play.
The Kansas City game? Yeah, that was awful. It was.
Holding.
Damon McMillan Jr., the freshman from Tampa, Florida, called for that one.
And Joe, that's such a great point. You see it so many times as the hold right there in the middle of the screen, easy call, as Reggie Darka, number 13, is just kind of pulled there. And again, gotta let go, otherwise they're gonna throw the flag. You know, back to that last play, when an injury occurs so many times, you see them attack that new guy out on the field to replace the starter.
Walker gets it on the edge, and he is wrapped up and dropped, or else he was about to turn the corner. Pretty good effort from Chris Jean, the safety.
Chris Jean has outstanding range in the back end, and one of those guys is a young player that's really come in to the season and make his name known, and he's been very productive in the secondary for the Blue Devils.
Had an interception last year against URI in the playoff game. Coaching staff said we might need something similar from him again today. On second down now and 18. Farrell back to the air. Some space on the outside for Buchanan. And he gets beyond the 50-yard line. Marquise Buchanan showing some physicality as well, not just a vertical guy.
He's a tactician running routes, and this is a difficult throw for Farrell. That right hash going to the opposite sideline, hitting Buchanan as he's breaking to the outside.
Brings up a third down. And a long 2 here from just about midfield. Farrell throwing to the bunch. Buchanan makes the catch, has the first down, and wrapped up and dropped at the 45-yard line. Eric Jackson making the stop, but not before a fresh set of downs for the all-star redshirt sophomore Marquise Buchanan.
This play was set up from Connor Feiner, number 2, the tight end, with this block, shoving his guy out of bounds. And Buchanan, once he catches that ball, he just follows that block, getting enough.
6 catches, 88 yards now, and the score for Marquise Buchanan. Farrell hands it off this time. And good defense by Cliff Thompson and the rest of that defensive line for CCSU to bottle that one up. Nowhere to go for Littleton Jr.
This defense has only given up 55 yards on the ground. They've done their job as far as stopping the ground game. It's just been the passing attack has been really excelling, and this unit, they'll switch between 3 and 4 down linemen for Adam Lechtenberg. They've got to find a way to get a turnover. They've got to get a stop. They cannot allow another scoring drive here.
Farrell looking sideline, and that's a big catch made on the outside by Gaines. Gaines moves the chains on 2nd and 11 with plenty to spare. And you said it, Jay, it's so tough. You think that when a team's got the lead, here comes the ground game. Instead, Farrell continues his aerial assault.
Yeah, he's clicking, and he is in the zone. He gets hit as he throws his ball, and Gaines is wide open. He has such good skill players on the outside, and he has trust in any one of these guys to make plays for him.
Oh, look out here. Buchanan gets loose. Flags down. Marquise Buchanan is out of bounds short of the end zone, but it looks like this is coming back.
Flags on the play. Offense, number 8.
Greg Gaines called for that one, and you know, I'm so torn on how coaches legislate that, because you don't want to be the receiver that's caught not blocking downfield, right?
It's a tough balance. I mean, these guys are just fighting, and I mean, there's both guys, and there's a hands to the face to Gaines.
Could have gone either way. And this URI crowd saw what you just saw, and does not approve. So instead of a 1st and goal, they're backed up near the 30-yard line. Farrell on 1st down. Steps up. He has room in front of him. Farrell scampers out at the 25-yard line. As we tick down towards 4:30 left.
Connor Feiner, the tight end, was wide open down the middle of the field. Farrell felt some pressure, got out of the pocket. But I know the coaching staff up in the box saw the bust in the secondary, and I would look for them to try to attack again and see if this secondary is playing their keys.
I know that you'd say that missing a tight end on a busted coverage should be illegal at this point. Hand off, and not a whole lot of room for Barrow there.
It's a sensitive subject for me. If you're wide open, especially down in this area, you always want to see the tight ends get the ball.
Tackled by 4.
Instead, it's a 3rd down now, and kind of in the middle range here, would be kicking into the wind. So we'll see how aggressive URI is on 3rd down. 5 of 10 so far on 3rd down in this game. Also 2 of 2 on 4th down. Farrell looking, has a man open, broken up, incomplete. Great recovery on that play by the defensive back, Chris Jean, getting his body in the way and denying Marquise Buchanan.
Fantastic work from Jean going against one of the best in Buchanan. And this is difficult when you're left alone on the outside and this ball over the top. There's Jean with the recovery speed, turning, putting both hands up to knock it down. They had to have that stop. A nice play from their safety.
So Garth White comes on, hit from 42 to close out the 1st half. Kick is up. It is pulled to the left, no good. So the lead remains 24-7. Rhode Island in front of Central Connecticut. A long drive ends up with no points. Blue Devils look to close the gap. When we come back, you're watching FCS Championship Round 1 from Meade Stadium. You're watching the FCS Championships Round 1 on ESPN+. Rhode Island in command over CCSU. They've won 8 conference titles before. This year, their last outright was 1985 when they went 10-3, 5-0 in the Yankee Conference. Quarterback Tom Earhart broke New England records by passing for 4,508 yards and 42 touchdowns. He was the Yankee Conference Player of the Year and is the only Rhode Island player to have his number retired. Last year, Rhodey were co-champs and shared the title with Richmond. There you go, Yankee Conference. Jason Halter, Joe Torti here with you. And outright titles, especially now as it feels like seasons get longer, more opportunities to have ties and things like that. Outright titles have to feel pretty good.
It's special, and it's something these guys, I mean, the goal for every team in the country is win your conference. And if you're a conference champion, years down the line, you will share that bond with your teammates and the coaching staff, and it's a big deal.
Olsen coming to the near side, complete Wadley, and just nowhere for Wadley to go. Look at those defensive backs for URI, and that ball came out at the last second. Ayinde Johnson thought he was walking in for 6. The forward progress was stopped.
That's a coaching point, is when you have a defender holding up the ball carrier, that next man go and try to strip that ball, and perfectly executed here. 2 guys right in position, and forward progress stopped, but they were still trying to claw that ball out.
Howard gets a carry, and once again, just absolutely nowhere to go for the all-everything tailback for CCSU, Elijah Howard. And Rohan Davey closing in there, making that stop, but it could have been anybody. You can see all the attention that Howard's drawing.
And they've made it so difficult for Howard. He averages over 6 yards per carry, and here today, 1.7 yards. And this defense has been selling out to slow him down and force somebody else to beat them.
A 3rd down and 4 for Olsen. Calls Wadley in motion. Gets good protection this time, and through the hands of Trovarelli, incomplete. Might have been just a hair behind him. Justin Carcel in coverage.
A.J. Pena bringing the pressure as the Rams falling back into coverage. There's Pena on that edge, bulldozed the tackle, and then the coverage was spot on. And this defense just isn't giving up anything big. Everything's in front. They get off the field, and you have a 17-point lead. Your defense is playing well. If you're the Rams, you're in a really good spot here. Buchanan, their star wide receiver, I just like how versatile he is, and they use him on special teams.
Point of emphasis for this coaching staff. It's a fake. Bonini on the run, has plenty of room. Bonini picks up the 1st down, and the redshirt freshman will not boot away for the 5th time. Instead, he'll take it himself for a 1st down, and Central Connecticut State needed that badly.
And they had to have a play, and it really faked out everybody here in the stadium. You figured they've got to kick it. 4th and 4, and he just takes off, and good job there up front with the block by Laquan Gaddy, the left tackle there, playing as an up back in the punting unit and clearing out a path.
Adam Lechtenberg and his crew continuing on this drive. 24-7 the lead for Rhode Island, but we'll see if that one juices up his squad. Olsen, bootleg, slams on the brakes and gets slammed to the turf. Nowhere to go for Brady Olsen, and a player down as well for URI. Pena was in the area. Good to see a player getting up for URI, Mitchell Garner, and he's been one who's been banged up earlier in this game. He was the one who made first contact.
And Olsen, off the play action, is looking to go deep, and it wasn't there, and he just extends the play, tries to get away from Garner. Pena comes in over the top, but this defense plays to the whistle. They continue to hustle. Nice job with the sack.
2nd down and 14, 3rd quarter winding down here. A catch made on the far side by Donovan Marcus, and the junior transfer from Gannon makes the catch. Might be the final play of this 3rd quarter. So some signs of life for Central Connecticut State, but plenty of work to do here if they want to catch up with Rhode Island. 3rd quarter's in the books. Rams trying to hold on and punch their ticket to the 2nd round. Can Central Connecticut State come back? 1 quarter will decide it for Brady Olsen and company. Blue Devils taking on the Rams here at Meade Stadium. 4th quarter coming your way next.
The college football playoff selection show. The bracket will be filled. Judgment Day is here.
There you go, December 7th, Judgment Day indeed. And Judgment Day has already happened here on the FCS level. Take a look at those top 4 seeds. Very, very strong field top to bottom this year, Jason Holden.
Yeah, and I think it's a deep field as well. Now, these top 4 seeds with North Dakota State, Montana, and Tarleton State have all had excellent years, but when you look at the field overall, Joe, there's so much depth in teams with numbers besides them, and maybe some of the teams that don't have numbers besides them, they all feel like they've got a chance to make it to Nashville.
Central Connecticut trying to come back on URI here, the 9th seed. Trying to get it done on the road. Olsen looking for it all. Well, up the field, incomplete, but a flag is down near the line to gain, and we'll see about this. Olsen gave that one a ride.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 6, 10-yard penalty from the previous spot, automatic first down.
Called against the corner, Ayinde Johnson, as he's rung up for that one. Plenty of time left in this one, of course, for CCSU to have a comeback, but on the Rhode Island side, what have you seen so far that's impressed you, and how much damage can they do in this field?
Well, I just think the big plays on offense is going to give them an opportunity against any team, and it's really enabled them to have a big lead as those wide receivers and how good Farrell's been. So that passing game is special. When you add in Littleton, I think this offense is going to be really difficult to defend, assuming they continue on.
Elijah Howard with about 3 jump cuts to get that gain. You can see all of the trash that he has to pick through to get any kind of positive yardage.
And you talk about that offense and you flip it over their defense. You've got A.J. Pena, who's outstanding, but there are really good players on all 3 levels with the defensive line, linebackers, and the secondary. I just don't see any weaknesses. There's nothing glaring, nothing that stands out for the Rams on the defensive side.
Here comes the heat. Olsen hit, still on his feet. Brady Olsen surges ahead for a first down and turns trash into treasure there.
You need your upperclassmen in moments like this to step up, and Olsen just willing on that play to do whatever he can to try to pick up positive yards.
Olsen, speaking of positive yards, taking it himself once again. Hasn't had a monster day passing the ball, 22 of 37, 174 yards, but enough to break the single season passing record at CCSU. He needed 135 coming into this one.
He's protected the ball, no interceptions, and that's the key now. Will he be able to come up with scoring drives, and he's got to do it quickly, have that sense of urgency knowing that Rhode Island's going to continue to try to give him pressure.
Delivered over the middle, complete to the tight end, Sean O'Brien, redshirt freshman, pressed into duty because we were visiting with the coaching staff. They said, frankly, we're banged up at tight end. We're not sure who's going to be available and who's going to be out there. Cleary, the redshirt freshman, at 6'7".
And this is a group of tight ends that's caught over 40 catches on the season, so they like to use them and play 2 tight ends at a time, a lot of 12 personnel, and with the injuries and the personnel that's been down, they've had to find other ways to get production.
First down and 10 for Olsen. Great protection, looking, end zone, has a man for the score! Touchdown, Damani Williams. Boy, did they need that. Another touchdown for Central Connecticut State, and with the extra point, they can cut it to 10.
They had to have it. Olsen on this drive showed a lot of grit and toughness, moving the ball down the field for his team. And here's the offense coming out here with the misdirection, the play action. Nice block from Howard. And then the throw over the top to Williams, and it was Johnson that was picked up on that blitz by Howard. Very physical there, allowing Olsen time to throw.
Extra point is blocked, not gonna make it. It's being returned the other way by URI, knocked out of bounds after a short carry. Picking it up, Johnny on the spot there was LaShawn Hibbert. But, boy, that was a big one. Instead of 10, it's now still 11. URI special teams showing up, putting the special in special teams. It's 24-13. Here's another look. Great penetration. Keeps the lead at 11. The NCAA FCS Championship continues with second round coverage next Saturday on ESPN+. For more information, visit ncaa.com, the home for all NCAA championships. Jay Sonhalter, Joe Torti, glad to have you aboard here on ESPN+. Take a look at the CCSU scoring drive. Another long, sustained drive against URI. Haven't seen that since the first quarter. But of course, the extra point blocked, and that could loom large in the comeback bid.
Yeah, and right there you have that great drive, and then you're not able to convert on that extra point. And you still have a long road to go, but that was a positive drive. You just weren't able to execute to get that extra point.
Zach Benini, now the onside kick, surprise onside kick, covered up by URI. Was going to say, special teams played a factor in that one with Benini on the fake punt, but heads up play by URI's defense. And they talked about having playmakers playing special teams for them. Terrence Campbell, the freshman tailback, was very aware here.
And having trust in the special teams unit, a lot of starters play in that third phase of the game. Good job there, staying at home and not being faked out and just jumping on that ball and dodging for cover.
Very aggressive by Adam Lechtenberg. Easy to say now that you've seen what happens, but do you like the decision, the surprise onside kick there?
Well, I think he feels like his team has momentum, and hey, this could be the last ball game of the year. Use all of your tricks, all your plays to try to get the ball back to your offense when you're down 11 points.
Nowhere to go for Farrell there as he was wrapped up and dropped by Sherrod Watkins as he made his way back towards the line of scrimmage. That'll bring up second down.
I think for Rhode Island, you have an 11-point lead. You've been really good through the year, but I would expect them to start to milk this clock and try to narrow this game down and limit the possessions for Central Connecticut State.
Second down and 10. Farrell looking for it all, has Buchanan behind the defense, but he just couldn't haul it in, incomplete. Tight coverage for Braden Hall, and he's celebrating, but that one just slipped through Buchanan's fingers.
And it was a deep post route, and they were looking for the touchdown. And Farrell, plenty of time to throw. Buchanan's looking over his shoulder. That would have been a difficult catch. That's as tough as they get when you've got to bend backwards and slow down, but that ball was put in a spot where only Buchanan could catch it.
Looked like a center fielder trying to run down a fly ball right over his head there. Now third down and 10, big play on this one for URI. Here comes the heat. Farrell delivers, picked off, it's going the other way. Beyond the 40, inside the 20. And that's gonna do it to Cavis Preston. Takes it the distance. First down and goal for Central Connecticut State, set up all the way down in the red zone. Preston with a monster play.
Outstanding work from Preston, and here comes the blitz. 5 defenders coming, one-on-one gains against Preston, and he wins. That ball thrown to the inside, and this defense standing up now. They haven't had a turnover all day. They get one. A huge moment now for the Blue Devils, coming back in this ball game, cutting into the lead, and with an opportunity with the ball inside the 10-yard line set up for Preston in the defense.
DeCavis Preston, known as the team chaplain, answering some prayers there for CCSU faithful. And now a whistle before this one begins.
Offense, 5-yard penalty. So first down.
So that one backs up Central Connecticut State. Just want to share with you one of my personal gripes is when teams in the second half take timeouts to stop delay of game penalties. Coaches are way smarter than me, but logic says you can get the yardage back, can't get the timeouts back in a comeback situation.
No, I agree. And Joe, I'll tell you another thing. Back to that drive for Rhode Island. You're sitting there a little bit over 12 minutes. 2 passing plays in a row. And, of course, you don't expect to throw an interception. I'm just surprised they didn't run the ball there on second down and see what happens on third down, but try to use the clock and aggressive mindset, and it backfires.
Olsen on the carry inside the 5-yard line.
Olsen on the keeper.
All of this set up by the DeCavis Preston interception. Returned at 59 yards inside the 10 after the delay of game. The Olsen carry has CCSU set up, poised for a big one. You talked about the momentum for CCSU, still solidly in their quarter. Olsen, hands off. Howard turns sideways and just nowhere to go for Howard, being escorted out of bounds by Pena and company.
Even though you get the ball inside the 10, it doesn't guarantee a touchdown. This defense is physical, and they're relentless, and they're not going to give up easily here in bend but don't break style of defense. And this has been a very physical game up front. It's been tough for this offense to run the ball against the front seven.
Five wide look for Olsen. Looks over the middle, complete short of the sticks and short of the end zone as well for Travarelli, who has been so reliable. Now you have a decision to make. You're down 11.
You're down 11 and you want a touchdown. And Travarelli going across the middle, not able to break through. And many times you'll say, hey, let's just go for it. Let's stick in a touchdown. We're this close, but you're going to need points from this drive, and you're down 11. I think you've got to take the field goal and try to cut into this lead.
Jack Hennessy on for this one. Hennessy's kick is up, and it is good. Chip shot 18-yarder, cuts it to single digits. Central Connecticut State trailed by 24-17 on the scoreboard. All of a sudden, just down 8. Rhode Island's defense tops in the conference at 19.2 points per game against. Take a look at their work today.
There's been pressure from the front defenders. The linebackers have been physical, and they've really slowed down the running game for the Blue Devils. It's been non-existent, Joe. I mean, it has been difficult, and then they found a way to get enough pressure on Olsen. And how about the stop here, forcing the offense to go for a field goal with that interception, the ball inside the 10-yard line. Chris Laurenti, that defensive staff has to be pleased with how they stood strong.
Chris Laurenti, it was great fun visiting with him this week, and he talked about Elijah Howard in the ground game, saying that's a guy that I would want on my team. High praise for Howard. This one's booted out of bounds. So not what they were looking for from Will Bozak on that play, and this will set up Rhode Island with good field position.
Free kick, out of bounds, kicking team. Ball will be placed at the 35-yard line, first down.
And Joe, it's so interesting when we talk with coaches just to get the mindset and just kind of hear why they think their unit is so good. And the defensive unit for Chris Laurenti has been excellent throughout the year, and he talked about how practice is so intense. It's like a game 7, he said. And we know how game 7s are, so if every day at practice is like that and with that competitive nature, you can see why you stack days of hard practices and it all pays off out on the field.
Littleton getting the carry there.
With the rush up the middle.
Emmanuel Dankwa making that stop. Now, a question I have to ask you here, Jays. How do you handle this drive if you're Rhode Island differently from how you've done it in the past?
Well, you've got an 8-point lead, and it's a one-possession ball game. Now, with 11-point lead, I would have slowed the ball game down and run the ball. I think the same thing here. You're in the driver's seat. Your offense has looked really good, and I know you're confident throwing the ball, but I would give the ball to Littleton, let him go to work, and again, try to move the chains, keep the Blue Devils offense on the sideline, and then you have less risk with the ball in the air when you're handing it off to your running game. And Littleton and Barrow, two of the best backs in the CAA, and I'd let them start to assert their will here in the fourth quarter.
Rhode Island led by as many as 24-7. CCSU climbing back, some trickery. Had an interception returned inside the 10-yard line. 3rd down and 6, here's Farrell. Looking up the sideline, has his man Walker who makes the catch again. Amari Walker has been there time and time again for the big play, and the freshman delivers.
They've called his number to win, and going against Wright, the linebacker, he wins in a one-on-one matchup on the outside. Straight go route. A nice job from Farrell on 3rd down, coming up with another accurate throw.
You know, you look at the young guns on this team, so many underclassmen. Marquise Buchanan, Greg Gaines, as the handoff here goes to a senior Brendan Barrow. So interesting to be able to rely on upperclassmen like Kwarteng and Amari Walker and the guys who are on the outside. Everybody, it's been a very balanced attack because Farrell's been an equal opportunity deliverer.
And there's a lot of mouths to feed. There's a lot of really good players, and I like how they've distributed the touches, the carries, the passing attempts to all the different weapons.
2nd down and 3, continuing to get it done through the air. Farrell keeps it on the ground, gets to the outside, and Farrell somehow escapes. Man, Devin Farrell so slippery back there. A couple different times CCSU this afternoon thought they had him hemmed in.
Yeah, his legs impacts the game in so many ways, whether that's getting away from sacks, whether that's eluding pressure and keeping his eyes up to throw it, or picking up positive yards on the ground when could have had a loss. It's just really a huge part to his game, is that added dimension where he's been so successful.
361 yards through the air. This time keeping it on the ground. And once again, Barrow getting that tote. A player down for Central Connecticut State. Carter Banks, the redshirt junior linebacker, is down. He'll be tended to by the athletic training staff here as CCSU trying to keep this Rhode Island lead at 8. Rhode Island facing a 2nd down and 5. Hopefully, player can get up and be okay. James Madison transfer Carter Banks able to walk off the field under his own steam. Good to see there. 2nd down and 5 facing Rhode Island with Jay Sonhalter, Joe Torta here with you. Take a look at how this happened.
The bodies just get tangled up. Carter Banks goes down, just holding that side. And Adam Leckenberg right now needs a stop from his defense. Turnover, you gotta force a field goal.
Rhode Island, the CAA champs, squaring off against the NEC crown holders, Central Connecticut State. Blue Devils defense trying to keep them out of the end zone here. Inside 7 minutes to play. Devin Farrell, 24 of 36, 361 yards, a touchdown and a pick on the last drive. It set CCSU up, but Rhode Island's defense held them to a field goal.
They're just standing around as that clock is winding down. And I agree, no reason to go fast here. Let's play this game out and go slow.
Buchanan on the pop pass. Gets turned sideways, flags fly in from the secondary as he's forced out of bounds. Not a whole lot of room there for Buchanan, but now we'll see about the flag. Feels like after a very cleanly played first half, been a little bit of a flag fest in the second half.
Holding. Offense number 81. 10-yard penalty. Replay 2nd down.
Called against Matt Smith, UMass and Duke transfer.
Now 8 penalties here in the second half for the Rams. Only 1 at the halftime break, so you said it there. This game has become choppy here in the 3rd and 4th quarter with the flags coming in.
These teams playing for the right to take on UC Davis in 2nd round action here in the FCS championship playoffs. Farrell to the air on the corner looking Buchanan, overthrew him, incomplete. Drilled the pylon, but just missed Buchanan.
Well, and the Blue Devils in this situation bring pressure on Farrell, and I would expect it here as well on third down, not only to try to force him into an errant pass, but also knock him out of field goal range with a sack. And this wind, it's been dicey here today, so I would expect them to continue to bring an extra defender here to try to force a tackle for loss or a sack.
3rd and 15 upcoming. Who has your attention if you're CCSU's defense?
Well, I think you've got to look at their linebacker, Jack Stoll, getting pressure.
Fired to Buchanan near the outside. Buchanan ducks back inside, pushes his way towards the 10-yard line. Going to be about a yard shy of the first down. Nice pickup there from Marquise Buchanan.
And Buchanan does so much damage, as that's an out route, goes up and makes a difficult catch and then gets away from Preston, and then with his legs almost able to pick it up, and it's 4th and short, but this is the right call, bringing out Garth White to make it a 2-score game.
White made earlier from 42, couldn't convert from 38. Kick is up, and it is good. So the lead rebuilt to 11. Rhode Island in front. Is it enough? Central Connecticut State. 5:03 to work with when we come back. FCS Championship first round action continuing. Rhode Island 11 points in front of the Blue Devils of Central Connecticut State. Jason Halter, Joe Torti here with you. As we've been mentioning, these two teams battling to take on UC Davis in the second round. That'll be next Saturday on ESPN2. And of course, North Dakota State and the winner of Illinois State, Southeast Louisiana are the teams that await whoever comes out of that battle with UC Davis. Kickoff just about to be underway here for URI. And Jay, if you're the Rams, defensively, how do you manage this possession?
Well, I'm keeping my safeties back, keeping everything in front, and you do not want to give up the big play. You're willing to give up the underneath routes. Hey, if they want to run it, let them go ahead and run it. You just do not want any quick strikes for the Blue Devils to feel confident and move the ball down the field. You want to use as much time as possible.
So if you're URI, you're feeling pretty good. If you're Central Connecticut State, you left some points on the field here, special teams.
Yeah, special teams is always a huge phase in every single ball game. Now that was a long field goal. They weren't able to connect. And then this one was missed on the other side. But the wind has been extremely difficult to deal with today. And there was a block on the extra point, but it's been an adventure with the kicking units out on the field today.
Then, of course, you add in the ones that weren't headed towards the goalpost. The surprise onside kick didn't work out for Central Connecticut State either. Didn't get stung on the interception that nearly went to the house. To the air, Olsen not on the same page with his intended receiver, Wadley. And an inauspicious start to this drive, 2nd down and 10.
Just miscommunication. And for Olsen, a lot on his shoulders here now on this drive. I mean, he's going to be asked to throw the ball predominantly, and he's got to make good decisions knowing that this defensive line is pinning their ears back, trying to get a sack.
Ricky Ortega, former quarterback on this team, comes in motion. Olsen looking his way, makes the catch. The Villanova transfer does. Ricky Ortega earned the praise of the coaching staff, doing whatever it takes to help the team win, including switching positions.
And Ortega sitting in the zone coverage with the Rams backpedaling there and their safeties playing deep.
1st down and 10 for CCSU. Pitch out Howard, don't forget about him. Howard gets to the outside, cuts back. And Howard staying in bounds. Jordan Campbell rides him down inside the 45-yard line. Would be a mistake to lose track of number 7.
And they mix in the ground game here with the pitch to the outside, and with a light box, there was room for Howard to create a big play there.
1st down and 10, taking down towards 4 minutes left in this FCS Championship Playoff Round 1 matchup. Olsen back into the flat. Howard makes the catch. 5-yard pickup there and gets out of bounds to stop the clock.
And I like how they're giving the ball to Howard, and he's going to take a break as he catches that ball, goes out of bounds and just stays there. And he deserves it, had the pitch, had the catch there. But he's a difference maker, and with Olsen, you can just feel him moving quickly. He's comfortable in this spot, and that's what you would expect from a veteran.
Well, look, because of how he went out of bounds, clock continues to move. So CCSU's got to get moving here. Olsen back to the air, looking Ortega, skips it in, incomplete. Tight coverage by Moses Muse on the play, along with Yinde Johnson. 3rd down and 6 here. CCSU running out of time and chances, Jay.
Yeah, and here you've got to execute, and you've still got a ways to go with it being a 2-possession game. But I think you're going to have to attack over the top, drive the ball down the field, because this is playing into the hands of the Rams with all the short passing plays.
Big time yardage differential between these two. Olsen trying to cut into it, coming back and can't make the catch, incomplete. Krafasi tried to work his way back, but just couldn't haul that in. And now the season is on the line for Central Connecticut State, 4th and 6.
Elijah Howard coming back into the ball game as Krafasi here is double teamed, comes back inside and boxes out Jordan Campbell, but as he's diving, he's just not able to hold on to it as he's falling forward.
4th down and 6. You can see they've been successful twice so far today. Olsen, here comes the blitz. Rolling right, flips it, has his man, caught it, Ortega for a 1st down. And the drive continues for CCSU. Big time throw as Olsen was fading big time backwards.
So this was an amazing effort from Olsen. As the pressure is coming, he refuses to go down, keeps that stiff arm up, falls backwards. It's almost like a fadeaway. He gets that ball off, and nice job there from Ortega, hauling it in, going out of bounds.
3 timeouts apiece. Olsen rolling on first, fires too high, incomplete. Looking for David Pardo on that one, brings up a 2nd down and 10.
So with that incomplete pass, you can kind of take a breath here as Brady Olsen nearing 50 passing attempts on the day. Those 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And they're going to need his best here if they want to have a comeback. He's got to get a touchdown, and then you get the onside kick. But this offense has shown signs here. They just have to find a way to finish on this drive.
CCSU. Olsen steps up. A catch made on the far sideline. Krafasi does the toe tap before going out of bounds. And this drive continues for CCSU, 2:45 left.
And this is a difficult throw when the secondary knows you've got to pass it. There's pressure right in your face. They're sitting in a zone and trying to read the eyes of the quarterback. That was arm strength from Olsen and accuracy to get the ball to Krafasi.
With 3 timeouts and the 2-minute timeout, wonder what the temptation might be here to kick. Instead, Olsen dropping back, looking end zone, and it's incomplete. Had a couple players in the area, Damani Williams, one of them there. Williams had a touchdown reception earlier today.
This is where the Rams defense has excelled throughout the season, is being tough inside of the red zone. And Adam Lechtenberg here has seen a great performance from his veteran quarterback, but there's got to be some separation from the skill players here in order to get to the end zone.
Olsen back to pass. Let's go, his 50th of the game, and it's incomplete. Looking back of the end zone, but URI's defense was all over that one. Andre DePina Gray was in the area, and now on 3rd and 10.
And I don't think Olsen would have got in the end zone here, but if he moves up, he has an opportunity to pick up about 5 yards. Instead, he goes in double coverage. Now sets up a 3rd and 10 here. Trovarelli's been successful, Krafasi as well on this drive.
if they're quick, this is the best of both worlds.
Yeah,
because you
great
still
point.
have the 2-minute timeout. Olsen looking end zone, incomplete. It was quick, broken up, incomplete. No flags on the field, so out comes the special teams unit. Effectively, CCSU with 4 timeouts, down 11.
2-possession ball game. Of course you want the touchdown, but with the down and distance and the fact that you've got to cut this to a 1-possession game, this is the right call. You've got to get points on the board to try to make it an 8-point deficit.
So Jack Hennessy, the redshirt freshman from Enfield, Connecticut. Comes on for a 28-yarder. Made a chip shot earlier. Kick is up. Plenty of leg, and it is good. So once again, it's cut to single digits. 2:03 left. Rhode Island still has business to take care of if they want to move into the second round here. CCSU getting closer.
This is a dominant Rams program in the fourth quarter. This is where they excel, but the door is open for the Blue Devils. And just want a chance, especially if you're on the road going against the number 9th ranked team in the country. Adam Lechtenberg has an opportunity here to try to get this ball back, and Jim Fleming's team, holding on with this lead and forcing field goals the past 2 drives has been critical for his defense.
We were singing the praises, rightfully so, of that URI offense, both in terms of what they've done in the fourth quarter and what they did in the first half. 3 second-half points for URI. The offense has dried up.
They've slowed down, and those big passing plays that were there in the first half has dissipated. And a lot of credit goes to the defense, but there just hasn't been that chemistry, that rhythm that they showed in the first half, and the ground game just hasn't been there as well. Only 81 yards on the ground. Littleton and Barrow really haven't had the big day that they've been accustomed to throughout the season.
Hands team out there for URI. Onside kick coming to the near side. Gets out of bounds. So no time comes off the clock. What do you make of that decision there, Jay?
Well, I think there you're just saying, hey, let's go aggressive. Let's do the onside kick, but it's going to work out here where for Central Connecticut State with the 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute timeout coming up, if you get a stop, you have an opportunity for 4 stoppages potentially.
Kicking team, offsides, kicking team number 4, that penalty is declined. Free kick out of bounds, kicking team, 5 yards to be added to the dead ball spot, first down.
And truthfully, if you're Central Connecticut State, this is a house money type situation. Why not do this?
Yeah, I mean, here you've got to give yourself a chance. This ball kicked out of bounds, and now it's going to come down to the defense. It's still a long road to go, but you have a chance with your timeouts you've held on to and the 2-minute timeout coming up.
Yeah, yardage doesn't matter here if you're CCSU. You just need the stop. It starts on first down. Wildcat look here for Rhode Island on the final play before the 2-minute timeout. Alex McClelland coming in to tote that one. 2-minute timeout coming down to the wire. Can Rhode Island hold on? First round FCS playoffs. Rhode Island trying to punch their ticket to the second round of the FCS playoffs here. Take on UC Davis. Illinois State with a 7-3 lead over Southeast Louisiana on the top side of that bracket for the right to play North Dakota State. Jason Halter, Joe Torti here with you at Meade Stadium. And we were just discussing the clock management for CCSU. It's worked out really well for the Blue Devils. They have a bona fide chance here if they can get a stop. Devin Farrell, who's been all everything for Rhode Island in this one. Trying to salt it away. Littleton, nowhere to go. And once again, it's the nose tackle, Cliff Thompson, getting there first, the run stuffer. Timeout CCSU. So third down upcoming. CCSU still with 2 timeouts left. How aggressive are you here if you're Rhode Island? What do you do?
I think you've got to keep the ball on the ground. Force the Blue Devils to use the timeout, especially here. Maybe on third down, depending on the result here, can maybe do a play action pass, but I think this has to be a straight running play and force the defense to use that timeout. I think Littleton, 6'1", 225, that's your guy you give the ball to get physical, tough yards, especially when the defense is selling out to try to stop the run.
Fair to say we're looking at 2 great running backs, right, Jay?
This is a matchup with so many great players, and we talked throughout this week about they both kind of look similar. Great running backs, really good wide receivers, quarterbacks that have excelled, and you're right though, these running games have really been one of the bright spots throughout the year for both sides.
And yet, these 2 really good backs, 70 combined yards, not a whole lot of room today against these defenses.
Defenses have been tough, especially surprising with the win. It's been the passing games that have really taken off.
Huge 3rd and 9 for Devin Farrell. Movement up front, flags are down, and back goes Rhode Island.
Full start, offense, number 79. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
Brock Bethea, redshirt senior from Pinson, Alabama, called for that one.
You see on the left side just a little twitch. And the Blue Devils quickly pointed out to get the call. Now 3rd and long.
You still go on the ground?
Maybe quick screen. But you do not want the Blue Devils to hold on to 2 timeouts.
Farrell over the middle, big time delivery, but it's through the hands of his intended target. Gains incomplete. Oh, Jay, they had it.
There was an opening, a crease, and it was there. And for Rhode Island, you're sitting in this situation, you're going to give the ball back with 2 timeouts, and there's Gaines, slides down, just can't haul it in. And who would have thought Central Connecticut State being down 24-7 is going to have a chance?
Big Rhode Island hop. They're going to have to go the distance. A flag is down, though, as there was heat in on the punter. We'll see about this. Ball's down inside the 5-yard line. And the official indicating that it's going to be 5 yards.
Running into the kicker, defense number 44. That penalty is declined. It'll be first down.
Beautiful punt there for Allen. Take another look here. Running into versus roughing.
Yeah. You'll see the rush selling out. Nudge. All right, but for the Blue Devils, get the ball back, down by 8, so still a long road to go. You have the 2 timeouts, 1:36 left on the clock, and Adam Lechtenberg has seen his quarterback, Brady Olson, play really well today. No interceptions, and you want to give the ball to your veteran, give him an opportunity in the 4th quarter. Well, here it is.
1:36 left. 2 timeouts for CCSU. Olson delivers to the sideline. Kravasi makes the catch and gets out of bounds as well. Trey Lubin was closing in. Exactly the play that they needed starting from their 5.
Yeah, it's important to have success, get out of that 5-yard line area and move the ball, and now you have more room to operate. There's a sense of urgency here with the offense. The clock stops.
Second straight year these 2 teams are matching up. Close win last time for URI. CCSU thinking revenge. A screen, middle of the field, set up beyond the 25-yard line. Trovarelli making that catch. Hurry up offense continues here. Clock ticking towards 1:20. Olson, heat off the edge coming. Olson's hit, gets it away, and does well just to get it in the area of an intended receiver, Elijah Howard, or else that could have been way worse.
Well, that was fantastic from Olson getting rid of it. Pena dropped into coverage, and then the corner blitz came off the edge. Rohan Davey gets into the backfield to force him to throw it out of bounds.
Now 3rd down and 3 facing CCSU. Trying to upset Rhode Island on the road. Have to pull even here on this drive that started at their 5. Olsen finds Howard, and he makes the catch at the 30-yard line. That'll be enough to move the sticks. Got to get on the ball, though.
They only rushed 3. Everybody dropped back into coverage. Just a quick slant for Howard.
Olsen's ready. Rolling, has time now. Olsen sending his man up the sideline. Makes one miss. Scampers up, and Olsen, you know, we've been talking a lot about what Farrell can do with his legs, but Olsen has been pretty good as well on the move.
Yeah, he's athletic enough to pick up yards and get away from a defender. And Olsen there, as Davey was coming up, slipped by him to pick up a few. And a lot on his shoulders here today. Over 55 attempts for the senior.
Arm's going to be in the ice bath after this, either way. 2nd down and 7 after the 3-yard Olsen pickup on the ground. Olsen flips it, has Howard, couldn't keep his feet. Good tackle made by Ayinde Johnson of URI, and that's going to force a timeout taken by Central Connecticut State.
Timeout, Central Connecticut State, just a second and a half, 30 seconds. 3-second game clock to 60 seconds.
Ayinde Johnson coming up with the tackle as Olsen reads the field, goes underneath. And yes, you get the completion. You move the ball to Howard, but this is playing into the Rams' hand where you have to use a timeout. And the time is dwindling here at 50 seconds and still a long way to go. Jim Fleming's defense here, he's hoping to get pressure, and this is where they excel, getting that pass rush in passing situations.
CCSU outscoring URI 12-3 here in this 4th quarter. Neither team scored in the 3rd. And it was a 24-7 lead for URI at halftime. 1 timeout left for Central Connecticut State. Third and 3. Olsen over the middle. Trovarelli makes the catch, moves the chains. And now once again, got to get on the ball while the chains move.
They're moving the ball, but there isn't that big passing play and just dinking and dunking underneath. But now the clock is ticking right at 40 seconds.
Olsen over the middle again. Howard makes one man miss. Howard over midfield, cuts back against the grain, down at the 40-yard line. 32 seconds left, temporarily stop clock.
And Joe, that's where you've got to go with the ball. If you're going to go with these short, intermediate passing plays, give it to the guy that can break through and get yards after the catch.
Olsen calls for it. Over the middle, dropped. Incomplete pass. Marsh thought that he had it. He's frustrated. 22 seconds remain.
And this is difficult with all the hands up in the air. Not a clear lane. Nice throw, and Muse gets his arm up, and Marsh right in the middle there. Knew he was going to get hit. Couldn't hold on.
Andre DePina Gray was waiting for him if he did catch that. 2nd down and 10. Rhode Island's led all the way. Olsen gets protection, steps up, delivers through the hands of 1 and 2, and nearly intercepted as well, but it's just allowed incompletion with 16 seconds left. It's 3rd down.
And there was an area here as Olsen throws his ball. He drives from his back leg. Donovan Wadley was there, just couldn't hold on. Now 3rd and 10. Have to execute, and this offensive line will have to protect for their quarterback.
Olsen just threw his 60th attempt. Third and 10. Olsen looking, firing, short of the end zone, and now 4th down coming up. One more chance, no flags on the field. CCSU looking for one.
Dave Pardo looking for the flag.
What did you see, Jay?
Well, in this ball game, they have let them play through. And this game has been physical as Pardo is coming back. There was some wrestling there.
Think Pardo may have a case?
Yeah, and I mean, he wanted it. They let him play through, but for Pardo, this offense is going to be a timeout. Comes down to really, do you have even time for 2 plays here or 1? Got to pick up at least 10 yards, but you're in a danger here. Even if you pick up the first down, would you have time for 1 more play?
So Rhode Island taking timeout here, 4th down and 10. Olsen, like you said, they haven't hit that deep shot. The closest thing that they've hit to a big-time play was the delivery over the middle to Howard when he was able to make 1 miss. Damani Williams has been a good deep threat today. But like you said, Jay, you're kind of running out of plays. Don't forget, after this, you need the touchdown and the 2-point conversion as well. So plenty more ahead if Central Connecticut State is going to tie this one.
That's the discussion down in the huddle is, all right, how are we going to attack it here? And again, with that time, 7 seconds, you're in danger. Even if you run a 12-yard out, will there still be time for the next play?
1 timeout left for Central Connecticut State. Will it matter?
Yeah.
We'll see. Olsen on 4th and 10. Steps up, heaves it towards the end zone, into the wind. Knocked down, incomplete. Trey Lubin was there, and Rhode Island hangs on to survive. Central Connecticut State, they're going to the 2nd round of the FCS playoffs. You talk about a hard-fought battle between 2 teams that know each other well. URI and Central Connecticut State, a thriller just like last year.
It was a close ball game, 2024, and here this year we got the same thing. And credit the Blue Devils coming back in this ball game, giving themselves a chance. They were down 24-7 late in the 3rd quarter. They got a turnover. Their offense started to pick things up, and they had an opportunity. The Rams, though, on their home field, stood strong. Their defense winning it here at the end. As Olsen's trying to create, and they agreed, hey, we're only going to have time for 1 more play, so they tried the Hail Mary, and Marsh goes up for it. But a good job knocking that ball down by Trey Lubin to secure the win and advance to the 2nd round.
Farrell, a new single-game career high in yardage. The quarterback for Rhode Island at 374. Blows it out of the water, and you take a look here as this one came down to the wire. Man, what a game that's going to be. URI taking on UC Davis next Saturday on the Deuce.
I can't wait to watch that ball game, and UC Davis is going to have to contend with this Rhode Island team that's been so good throughout the year on both sides of the ball.
Well, time to hear it from his mouth. Quarterback Devin Farrell for URI. Devin, congratulations. We were talking about the fast start that your offense had. What were you seeing out there that was working?
I just want to give all praise and glory to God, man. Like he's brought us all through so much this season. Me individually, everybody's dealing with something, but he's just been carrying me through. So all glory to him. What was that question again? Sorry.
Just what were you seeing out there that allowed you to be so successful there in the first half?
That's a credit to our coaches. Coach Loftus, he draws up the pass game, and it's easy for me. The answers are there. I just got to find them, and that's it.
And Devin, you were amazing getting away from the pass rush, extending plays, sometimes falling backwards and still finding your wide receivers open. How are you able to maintain your composure and look so calm in the pocket and also when the play breaks down?
That's Christ. I mean, like I said, like the ups and downs, he's carried me through them. So when I'm out there on that field, it's the same thing. There's ups and downs on that field. I got guys around me who believe in me. I got guys around me who work hard, and those guys give me time to make plays. And I think, you know, I just thank God for it.
Well, Devin, great game. Congratulations. Best of luck there in the second round against UC Davis.
All right, thank you.
There you go, Devin Farrell, the quarterback for URI, as he leads the Rams to a 27-19 win over Central Connecticut State. For Jay Sonhalter, I'm Joe Torti saying so long from Kingston, Rhode Island, where the final score is 27-19. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.